In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. George Orwell. Yeah. This is Blood Politics. The only podcast where we don't talk about politics. We be about politics. And our mission statement is to empower, educate, and encourage everyone to speak out against fascism, speak out against injustice, and fight for freedom and equality for everyone. This is Blood Politics. And we ain't stopping till they put us in the grave. We ain't gonna be quiet. And we ain't gonna be scared. And we ain't gonna go along with the crowd. This is Blood Politics. And it ain't about left or right. It ain't about Dem or Republican. It's about right and wrong. It's about us versus them. This is Blood Politics.
All right, what do you say? What do you say? What do you say?
And we gonna do what we gotta do. Because
No
ain't
sense
no
wasting any more time, guys. There's just no sense wasting any more time. We might as well jump right into it. We got a boatload to try to pack into the show today. Going to be a great one. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. All of the good things that help us, keep going in this algorithm. The war that is now taking place. I know a lot of lefty creators, kind of looking at the drop and decline in views. I know there's been a couple glitches recently on at least YouTube, but whether or not that's part of a bigger plan, it remains to be seen. But luckily, hopefully you guys can see me here. Hopefully you're joining me. What do you say we bring in the chat? Say hi to you fabulous people that make this thing possible every single day. Appreciate you guys. What do you say? You always deserve some screen time. Let me see if I remember the buttons. I think it's that one and this one. Make it a little bigger. What's going on, Deb? What's going on, Moms? What's up, BJ over on Twitch? How are you guys doing? What's up, Santa? What's up, Susie? What's up, Jackie? Good to see you guys. What's up, Ian? What up, Jay? How are you? What's going on? What's up, Jeff? What's up, Twiggy? What's up, Yakov? Salute to all the mods. Love and appreciate you guys for all the hard work you do. What's up, Wesley? What's going on, BJ again? What's up, Wes again? What's up, Roxanne? How are you guys? What's up, Julie? Yeah, I appreciate you guys. I really do. Every single one of you, no matter where you're watching. Mr. Red, I see you in there. I see you in there. Namaste. I see you, Jamie. I see all you guys. What's up, Bethany? How are you? So thank you again to everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Substack, for watching on whatever platform that you watch, for hitting the thumbs up or the like, or even if you do hit with a thumbs down or a bad comment. I think that also goes to help us, boost us in the algorithm. So, even if you don't like what you're hearing and you don't like what you're seeing, let me know. Let me know about it. Tell me how you feel. But like I said, we got a lot to cover today. You guys in the chat are you're gonna have to deal through a lot here today. You're gonna have to sit through a lot. So obviously it's Sunday, 31 May. Let's get that out of the way. I'm not dead from a meteor, in case you guys were wondering. We might as well address that right off the bat. When's the last time you heard that a meteor hit just off the coast of your residence? Not very often, but yes, in fact, I did hear it. In case anybody was wondering, I thought it was thunder. That's kind of what it sounded like to me from where I was, and obviously whatever buildings and stuff were in my way, kind of making it sound weird. But I actually went out and was asking, did you guys hear that? Was that thunder or what's going on? Because it was raining, it was really windy, so it just kind of made sense that it might have been thunder, but it wasn't thunder. It was in fact a fucking meteor. I mean, again, in case the world wasn't wild and wacky enough as it was, you know what I mean? Unless there wasn't like enough stuff for us to worry about. We're now fucking dodging meteors here in New England. But apparently, it could have been heard as far away as I think they were saying like Rhode Island. Obviously up north, it was, a pretty substantial boom. There was a bunch of videos coming out, detailing, Ring video cameras and stuff, kind of with the bang in the background and people's reaction to it. But, a very strange situation, I got to say, very strange, but kind of fitting with the way things are going in this world, if I do say so myself. But what else are we going to be covering today? We got a lot to talk about. We got Trump and his allies are now close to a $1 billion energy and infrastructure deal in Bosnia-Herzegovina. Again, just kind of the people surrounding Donald Trump, his family, his friends, people that work for his business, just getting all of these really fine and really like valuable opportunities here in a bunch of these different countries that they've now been able to visit and get deals with and partnerships with based off of Donald Trump's presidency, based off of the power that he has now. And then we have a couple like random clips that I was going to show right off the bat. This one is kind of like if the czar only knew. I know that may be kind of obscure to some people, but if anybody's watched any of Philip Ittner, if you've seen him on Hal's show, if you've seen him on this show, he's talked at length about the czar, if the czar only knew theory, which is, just to give a little example, like if the Russian people, they're always coming out and kind of making it seem like Vladimir Putin doesn't know about the hardships that they go through, about how society seriously changes if you get outside of St. Pete, if you get outside of Moscow or any of the affluent cities that they have. It is a very stark difference between what the people in Moscow, the life that they lead, and then the people in the more rural parts of Russia, the lives that they lead. So it's kind of this thing like there's no way that the leader, there's no way that the Fuhrer, there's no way that Putin could know that we're living a life like this, because if he knew, he'd be out there desperate to change it. He'd be doing everything he possibly can to rectify the situation. Again, this is just like the propaganda machine that has been fed to them, where the leader is the strong man, the leader is the smart. The leader is the most caring person on the face of the planet. Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin, what's the guy's name in Turkmenistan? Mohammed Demdamdov or something like that. That guy, the nut job that fell off his horse. So again, it's kind of a through line with all of these dictators, with all of these, the dictatorial madmen that see themselves in power for generations and generations. It's what you hear from the citizenry. It's like, there's no possible way they could know the plight of the people. And we got a clip here from, I believe it's News Nation. What's her name? Batya Anjar Sangar or something like that. I don't know. I think she's a bitch. I think she sucks. But that's just my opinion. But she's got a clip here where she's kind of telling Donald Trump about the plight of the American people like he doesn't fucking know. Like he hasn't had clips out there being like, I don't give a shit about how much you're paying at the gas pump. I don't give a shit about how much groceries have risen in cost. I don't give a shit that your energy costs have tripled, in some cases quadrupled or even more. I don't give a shit that your rent has gone up, right? He says it again with his interview with Lara Trump that he gave. He says he's in no hurry. He knows that he should be because of how hard this is making, the daily lives of the American people, but he's not, because he's ranking in billions, on the back end. He can suffer in silence, basically. He can withstand all of these economic hardships because he's just, obviously got the bank account to do it at this point. So we'll be talking about that. Obviously, the Delaney Hall, ICE and the police violence and the maltreatment of the prisoners is something that we got to talk about. So we're bringing up a couple clips of that, talking about that. So there's trouble in paradise between J.D. Vance and Donald Trump. There's a new New York Times article coming out. And again, this is on top of the reporting that we talked about, I believe, what was it, Friday, where Pete Hegseth, I think it was either a Mediaite article or I'm forgetting now, but it doesn't matter. But, Pete Hegseth was getting basically reamed for stopping the deployment of 4,000 troops to Poland at the very last second. And Donald Trump got pissed off because of that, basically saying that we shouldn't be treating Poland badly. It was the German chancellor that had negative things to say about the United States, and basically, given Pete Hegseth a firm talking to, as it were, about his decisions. But this was basically heavily based in the fact that the style of governance now is just a bunch of sycophants trying to interpret what Donald Trump wants to see happen. They don't want to make Donald Trump come out and give a very specific and direct order that could have some legal ramifications in the future. They certainly don't want to have him put, his name, his signature on some sort of attack plan or whatever it may be. So Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, Kash Patel, the rest of these cocksuckers are out there just trying to interpret Donald Trump's rhetoric and then basing the policies and decisions off the military or the State Department, whatever it may be, off of what they think Donald Trump would want to see happen. And, it's the same way that, the government under the Nazis was kind of run. It was very discombobulated. There was no really hierarchical system. A lot of people were just fighting and backstabbing each other to get to, the proximity of power, to get close to Hitler. Everything was kind of a contest between people, and everybody was doing what they could to try to impress the dear Fuhrer. And this was another case in which, Pete Hegseth thought that this would go over smoothly. Like, he thought this would be a beautiful move, and Donald Trump would love to stick it to the European allies because of, the lack of assistance that they've given us during the Iran war. Didn't turn out to be the case. And again, take the reporting with a grain of salt, just how upset Donald Trump was. But again, it doesn't seem like it's a good relationship. As much as they tried to portray themselves as like on the same page and very close in policy and whatever is going to happen militarily between Hegseth, J.D. Vance, Rubio, and the rest of the cabinet. Seems like there's a little bit of trouble in paradise, and we've talked about this as it pertains to J.D. Vance and the act of getting us into the Iran war between Benjamin Netanyahu and his meeting with Trump, and who in the cabinet was kind of skeptical and definitely had second thoughts about undertaking this war. Another thing we'll be talking about is Netanyahu expands the war on all fronts. Whether we're talking about Lebanon, whether you're talking about Gaza or the West Bank, and it's very clear and continues to be a very consistent through line of him speaking very differently when he's speaking in Hebrew compared to when he speaks to the American or Western or English speaking audience. So we'll be diving into that. And again, this is as the integration between the U.S. military and the Israeli military is looking like something that this administration is going to go through with, or is at least going to attempt to go through with. Basically, the conjoining of the United States military with the Israeli military. Again, the comparisons there are the allies teaming up with the Nazis as they're engaged in the Holocaust, as Israel is continuously engaged in acts of genocide. We're now having our nation, the nation that was supposed to be the good guys, that was supposed to be the rescuers, right? So we've had the people that were once hunted turn into the murderous criminals, and now we've had the good guys, right, that were looked at as the rescuers, the arsenal of democracy, right, is now the bad guys, is now teaming up with the Nazis in this case, as again they're engaged in their genocidal acts. So the roles have flipped, the script has flipped. It's done a complete 180, and I'm not going to stand for it. I'm not going to sit here. I'll rightly go against the country before I'll allow our military to integrate, to associate, and to basically become one with the Israeli military. Not going to fucking happen on my watch. I can tell you that goddamn much. So we got that. The Freedom 250 celebration disaster is even pissing off Republicans now. It's such a chaotic, disastrous piece of shit event being thrown on. Now it's just going to turn into a Trump rally because so many of the artists have canceled. So many of the artists have been like, yeah, I'm good with that. I don't want to, it's not worth the backlash that I'm going to get. So it's even having an effect on the Republicans too. And then we got Benny Johnson, if you can believe it. I know it's hard to believe, but Benny Johnson actually has another video talking about how an Iran deal has been done or is right around the corner or something along those lines. But it's got to be his 15th or 20th video with that same thumbnail. We also have, like I said, Trump and Laura, Trump clips, and then obviously some Ukraine updates coming from Crimea. They had a pretty successful strike on some of the Chechen forces as well. So a lot to get into, a lot to talk about. I appreciate you guys. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we just passed 20,000 subscribers, which is a huge fucking goal. Really, really appreciative of all the help, love, and support that you guys have shown this channel to get us to that point. So we're trying to keep that ball moving, right? We're trying to keep the momentum going. And if we can get to 25K, if we get to 25,000 before midterms, that will show us that we're continuously on the right path and obviously moving in the right direction. So very much appreciate you guys. There are multiple ways in which you guys can contribute. We are a completely independent channel. We have no sponsors, financial backers. We don't sell you any outside products, anything like that. This live stream will not be interrupted by ads on my end, at least. I can only control what I can control on YouTube side of things. So, but we are very much an independent channel. We don't want people having the ability to tell us what we can and cannot say, what we can and cannot talk about. I want to be able to lay my head on the pillow every single night knowing that the opinions that I espoused were mine and mine alone and weren't influenced by any outside activity, financial gain, anything like that. So again, the Venmo up in the corner. If you have a couple quarters in the couch cushions that you find, feel free to throw it into the chat. All we ask for is a buck or two. Anything beyond that is totally 100% up to you guys based on your financial capabilities. But again, all I ask for, all I think is, a buck or two from everybody in the chat that could kick in would substantially change things. It's a scary time, a scary moment. I think we're going on a little bit over a year. I don't know exactly since I quit my plumbing job to do this full time. And boy, is it scary. I got to tell you, it is a very scary time to kind of be floating around out there and kind of reliant upon social media, and you find people to stay afloat. So, but you guys have been there for me, and I just hope that we can expand the audience and hopefully make this a little bit more. I don't want to say worthwhile, but I don't know, financially viable. Hopefully, at some point, it would be great to have health insurance. You know what I mean? But I'm not reaching to the moon. I'm not asking for Ferraris. Health insurance is a good start. That would be fantastic. So, all right, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. There's Patreon.com/Boston Brian. 3 great tiers on there. You can sign up for a YouTube membership with a button somewhere in this general vicinity here, down there somewhere. Unless you're watching on vertical, in which it may be up. I don't know, maybe it's, I don't know. One of these buttons in somewhere that you're watching is a way in which you could become a member. And then obviously you can send a super sticker into the chat. I appreciate you guys. All right. First and foremost, I want to make sure to highlight, congratulate, and thank you guys for another amazing day as far as the Summer of Drones campaign is concerned. We have, again, in case you're joining us for the first time in a few days, we have started our second. We are very honored and very privileged to be able to associate and to team up with Help 99, the NAFO boys over at the 69 Sniffing Brigade, to help utilize our platform to raise money. We are at about $3,200 raised in roughly, I'd say, 48 hours or so. Which is, I think, fucking absolutely fantastic for, again, a channel of this size. I am not delusional about the reach that I have or the ability to bring in a community or to bring in an audience. So, again, to see that a little over, I think that's the conversion, a little over $3,200 has been raised, over 2,700 euro towards our 20,500 euro goal. Again, a truck, a NAFO 3.0 truck going to the 3rd Operational Battalion. That is an artillery platoon. And again, like we said, if we could help these people, doesn't matter what they're affiliated with, doesn't matter what position they hold, what rank they hold. It is very important, especially to me, and I am very passionate about this fight. And again, the assistance that we should be able to show the Ukrainian military and the Ukrainian citizenry that, again, our country is not stepping up and showing. So it is basically down to not solely, but there has been a huge boost in social media platforms, and whether it's Help 99, whether it's Cause for Ukraine, there's a whole list of organizations that have raised millions and millions and millions of dollars to go towards this fight against Russia. So I just want to continuously thank you guys, show you guys the appreciation that you guys deserve for the help and the generosity that you've shown in these fundraisers. So, and again, like I said, I know it's probably because we have the best patches in the game, I must say. Like I say, I mean, can you get better patches than this? I think anybody that's, involved with the NAFO campaigns, if you're a fella yourself, if you've donated to United 24, if you've bought something off of St. Javelin, you got to get these patches. I got to say, and if it's if it's something that you can afford, obviously, please think about donating to this. And like I say, a lot of these are like, it's like, I don't want to say detrimental, but it's kind of like against the best interest of a channel this small. But that is irrelevant in my mind. I don't give a shit. I basically am solely reliant upon you guys for food, water, basically living my daily life. So to ask a community of this size to contribute as much as we need to contribute for these fights is, again, not very beneficial for the channel, but I am willing to sacrifice. I am willing to make the hard decisions and to go through the necessary hardships to make sure that we're doing the right thing with this channel, and I think we're on the right track for that. So like I said, thank you for the people, the 22 donations so far, totaling over $3,200. And like I say, let me see if I can go down here to the board, to the wall. So again, big thank you to Christina for your donation. Yakov, thank you so much again. I put in a donation on behalf of the Blunt Politics family. So for the Heroes of Ukraine from the Blunt Politics family, that is from you guys and from me. So, $123 put in there. Again, Yakov with another one, Berja, Mark, KO. Yakov has been fantastic. And obviously Todd, who started it off with an almost $600 donation to get us off from the jump. So again, big thank you guys, big round of applause, and I appreciate you. Let's keep fighting though. Let's keep pushing. If it's not you that can donate, 100% understood. We are in very difficult and unstable financial times, economic times, and I completely understand that. So if you could share it out, if you could tell a friend, a family member, a coworker, somebody that may have the scratch in their wallet, somebody that may be in a better position. And again, a supporter of Ukraine, a supporter of democracy. Please make sure see if you can share it out to them. And again, anybody that this can get in front of would be fantastic. Hopefully, we get that like really big whale to come in. That's always the goal. That's always the hope. And we can get this thing done in no time, lickety split, and then hopefully, get that truck over to the artillery battalion, and then start another one. You know what I mean? Because that's what we got to do. As long as this fight continues, I'm going to continue being here fighting for Ukraine. So, like I said, very much appreciative of you guys and the help that we've seen here in the Summer of Drones campaign with Help 99 and the NAFO boys. So, very much appreciated. All right, let's dive into this next article that I want to talk about, and this is just again with the ongoing corruption, the ongoing financial gain, the ongoing proximity to power that people in Donald Trump's direct orbit, Donald Trump's direct family, or if they have business ties with Donald Trump, have seen time and time again themselves introduced to these incredibly enriching financial situations. Whether it is the $620 million Pentagon contract afforded to a Don Jr. backed company, whether it was the nearly $30 million Pentagon contract afforded to an Eric Trump backed drone company. The list continues. That's just kind of the very fucking tip of the iceberg as that is concerned. But here's another one. Let me throw this one on the screen. That's not it, but that one is. This is from the Clash Report, and they're reporting from a Guardian investigation, a Guardian article here. So this is saying a Guardian investigation reports that AAFS Infrastructure and Energy, a little-known company with ties to people close to Trump. Geez, isn't that fucking strange? It's crazy how we always hear that these really, really substantial contracts in like remote parts of the world here are going to the people closest associated to Donald Trump. It's remarkable how many times we see that take place. But this goes on to talk about how they're close to securing a more than $1 billion energy contract with energy and infrastructure in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Okay, it's like, okay, when's the last time you heard about dealings with Bosnia and Herzegovina? I mean, unless you've seen Behind Enemy Lines, unless you're apt on the history of the war in the area in the 90s, then, I'm not sure that too many people have heard about Bosnia and Herzegovina in some time, but here we go. The project includes a major gas pipeline intended to reduce the country's dependence on Russian gas. Critics note that the AAFS has no proven track record managing projects of this scale and was selected without competitive tender process. Sound familiar? Do we actually think that Eric is associated, is behind the most, knowledgeable, the most, what you'd want to say, the most deserving company of a drone contract from the Pentagon? There's no other company out there that has better knowledge, better technology, better equipment, better resources. Nobody. It was the Don Jr. backed company, and it was an Eric Trump backed company that were the best of the best, that just happened to beat out all the other companies that put in for these Pentagon contracts based off of fucking merit and not because, their proximity in relationship to the president of the United States. Bullshit. So this company's representatives include Trump-linked lawyer Jesse Banal, Joe Flynn, brother of former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, right? So just people, again, in his orbit, closely associated with, and this says why $1 billion in bulk and energy contracts are going to an obscure company connected to Donald Trump. Guardian investigation shows how the U.S. presidency blurs lines between policy and enrichment of an American ruling family and those around it. And again, this is Donald Trump Jr. pictured arriving in Banja Luka, the main city of the Serbian half of Bosnia, for a meeting with political leaders in April. Was given a warm welcome by the son of the ultra-nationalist Bosnian Serb leader, Milorad Dodik. So again, showing the relationship that they continue to spread around the world to enrich themselves, not only now but obviously going forward in life. So this is added on to the $1.8 billion slush fund. Add this on to the amendment where Donald Trump, his friends, his family, his companies can't get audited for the fucking rest of time. Add it to the NFT, the crypto, the perfume, the cologne, the sneakers, the watches, the cell phones. Again, it's so many now, it's difficult to list them all. But you guys, let me know in the chat where I'm missing out on all of the acts of corruption that we've seen from this guy, just in his second administration. So that is one of them I wanted to cover. Here is this kind of random. I know it's a little bit random to throw in, but I think it kind of is very relevant as it pertains to the dictatorial reign and the way that Donald Trump has been able to propagandize the Republican Party and the MAGA base, very much like Vladimir Putin has done with the Russian people. Much like strongmen and dictators have done throughout history with their citizens to try to obviously remain in power, or to make it seem like if there is hardship being felt by their population, they have no act in procuring that. There's no way that they could possibly know about it. They're going to do everything they possibly can to stop it. So this is again Batya Ungar Sargon, who I think is just an absolute piece of shit. Says here that Mr. President, your supporters are hurting. They need help, and they need it from you. A stimulus check to get working class people through the months of negotiations in Iran would go a long way. So basically, one stating that, Mr. President, I know you're busy, and I know you're doing all of these fucking, bad deals, and you're creating so much danger to the world right now. But if you could just take a step back, if you could just look, I know you haven't really realized the hardships that the American people are going through right now, but you know what would work? A stimulus check. How about we just send everybody $2,000, $3,000? Maybe they'll forget about the Iran war. I know you don't know that they're hurting. So this is like a two-parter here. This is Donald Trump doesn't know the plight of the American people, so we have to somehow get through to him so that he could know, so that he could help people. Because if he knew, he'd definitely help the American people, which is utter horseshit, right? And then the secondary aspect of this is, did the Doge check ever get there? How many maggots in the chat got to cash their Doge check? What'd you guys spend that Doge check on, right? What are the other stimulus checks that Donald Trump has promised to you? What'd you guys spend those ones on? I'm curious. But here she is saying that, all Donald Trump has to do is basically pay the population, pay the country, and maybe they'll forget about what they're paying at the pump. Maybe they'll forget about what they're paying at the grocery store, and maybe they'll forget about the lies they were told when Donald Trump was running for, his second term here, and maybe they'll forget about the wars and all the dead people and the war crimes and all that stuff. Just send people money, says this bitch. All right, so let's dive into this real quick. Again, if Donald Trump only knew how bad people were suffering, he wouldn't be doing any of this. And then on top of that, if he does know, can you just please send a check out there so people shut up and they stop getting pissed off at the Republicans? That's what she's saying.
Mr. President, your supporters are hurting. People who voted for you 3 times, who would walk over Legos covered in hot coals to vote for you, are broke. Some are skipping meals. Others are buying.
And just for a little bit, further context here, just in case just so you don't think I'm a giant piece of shit. This lady, I believe she referenced herself as being was it like a MAGA lefty or something along those lines? Something like that, right? She's one of those assholes. So just to I want to throw that out there and make it very clear as to why I have the animosity and disgust towards this piece of shit as I do.
Chicken in bulk because that's all they can afford. The cost of food and gas is just so high.
Yeah, it's just the cost of food and gas is just so goddamn high right now. Can somebody tell the president? Maybe the president should know about this. Can somebody in his cabinet, Stephen Miller, anybody, Sean Hannity, anybody, can somebody just get through to the president and let him know that gas is really high right now? Groceries are really high right now. Rent is really high right now. Energy costs are really high right now. Every fucking thing is really high right now. God, can somebody just get through to the president and let him know? Because I'm sure he doesn't know about this because he'd be pissed. There's no way he'd want the Americans suffering like this. But again, cut to the clip of Donald Trump saying, no, I don't give a shit about the economic hardship that the American people are under right now. We're in no rush to end this war. So it's clearly he does know and just clearly doesn't give a shit, right?
People are finding it impossible to pay for their kids' after-school sports once they fill up the car with gas. People who support you and support the war in Iran, who were willing to pay a little more to make sure our grandkids don't have to live with the threat of a nuclear-armed terror state.
And where did people say that? where was this consensus of the American people that got together and said, you know what, I'm willing to pay a shitload more. You know what, I do believe Benjamin Netanyahu since fucking 1992 telling us that Iran was going to have a nuclear weapon in about 37 seconds. And no, right now. Nope, they don't have it now. Right now they have one. Nope, not now. They're going to have 11 of them in about a week. No, they'll have 13 of them in 2 months. Did I say 2 months? All right, it's going to be a week now because they're really, really close. We saw some, it's just like he's been saying the same shit in this country and around the world for the last fucking 30 something years at this point. And all of a sudden now she thinks that the American people got together and was like, I think we believe it now. I think it's been said enough times where, I know Netanyahu's been saying it for 30 years, but Trump said it now, so we must believe it. It's got to be true at this point. So you know what? I am willing to come out of my own fucking pocket on top of all the other bullshit that we're paying for, the $1 billion ballroom, the repainting of the reflecting pool, the fucking repainting of the Eisenhower building, the columns that Donald Trump, all the bullshit, the UFC fight, again, we'll talk about that when we get into the Freedom 250 celebration, but that's so disastrous. Separate from the Freedom 250 concert, like the UFC fight at the White House is so fucking disastrous that even Joe Rogan's dumbass isn't on board with it. He's got a problem with the bugs. It's not the optics so much, but it's like it's going to be hot out and there's going to be a lot of bugs, according to Joe Rogan. That's the problem that he has. But even he's calling the stupidity out at least a little bit. You know what I mean? But I'll go on with this one.
Who are willing to pay a little more for the possibility of reshoring our great manufacturing base with tariffs. Well, they've paid off.
Where did we say that? Where did the country say that? Did you guys say that in the chat? I don't remember anybody coming into the chat and being like, you know what, Brian, I really want to spend a lot more money this year to have Donald Trump enact these like ridiculously fucking stupid tariffs on every country in the world, and then to turn them off and then to turn them on and then to lower them and then to raise them and then to confuse the entire country, confuse the entire world, and then prices go up. And then we, as the American people, have to pay higher prices. But don't worry, because those tariffs were illegal. And now all those businesses that saw an increase in revenue based off of the price increases that we, the American people, had to fucking pay, now get to fucking sue the government for that money back. Okay? So not only did they rape, pillage, and plunder the fucking pockets and the wallets of the American people, but now they get that all back. Probably even more than they fucking got. Or made, or had to, they were thought to have lost in this situation, right? So they're fucking double fisting over there, right? They're double dipping chips into the money pool. And meanwhile, we're paying double, triple, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times the price of things for everything. You know what I mean? And it's just fucking, we're all getting sick of it. But like I keep saying, don't think we're pissed off enough. Once we get out of these fucking seats and get into the streets as Americans, that's when we're fucking fed up. That's when we're pissed off enough. Right now, unfortunately, it needs to continue. That seems to be what it takes, or what it's going to take. That line in the sand apparently hasn't been reached for enough Americans to get out into the streets, but it's rapidly approaching. I can tell you that much.
They can. Some are expressing anger and frustration. They feel that they voted for you to bring down the costs. Others
No, nope, bitch. You don't get to rewrite history like that, motherfucker. They don't feel, okay? They don't feel like they voted for him because they thought the prices were going to come down. They fucking were told 1 billion fucking times if they voted for him, prices would come down in 10 days. The Ukraine war would be over in 24 hours. He didn't even have to get installed into office yet. He didn't even have to get fucking, he didn't even have to go into the White House yet. He said 24 hours after being elected. After elected, he would have that Ukraine war over. How'd that fucking go? But no, you don't get to rewrite history and all of a sudden say like, oh, it was the people's feelings. These people, they just felt like Donald Trump was going to bring the price. Absolutely fucking not. Okay. That was promised time and time and time and time a fucking again. And these fucking gullible pieces of shit bought it hook, line, and sinker. So you ain't not on my watch. Okay. Not on my watch there, about you.
Just quietly skipping meals. And contrary to what some in your administration keep saying, it's not just vibes. Inflation is eating up wage growth and then some. Gas is $4.50 a gallon as we head into the summer travel season. The producer price index is up 6% as we head into grilling season. Savings are at an all-time low. 13% of credit card balances are now over 90 days delinquent, the highest since 2000.
Well, that's a good thing if you ask, what's his name? Hassett there. What's his name? Scott Hassett. Again, these people are just not relevant enough, not important enough for me to know or remember their names or to take up any fucking brain space with these people's names. I know it's fucking Hassett and Bessent and the rest of those assholes, but apparently he's loving it. He's hop, skipping, and jumping all the way to work every single day with the American people spending more on their credit cards, spending more on gas, spending more on groceries. That must mean that they have some trust in the economy, or again, they're just fucking forced and they have absolutely no choice whatsoever other than to spend that money to rob Peter, to pay Paul, to make sure that they can get that food, to make sure that they can pay the babysitter, to make sure that they can send the kid to fucking band camp or sports camp or, whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? They're doing that not out of because of trust for the economy or because of some fucking, apparent hope that things are going to change. It's because of the necessity. It's out of fucking pure necessity that people are spending what they're spending right now. That's just, there's no other way around it. You know what I mean? I know some people are better off than others, but still, those people aren't fucking happy now, and money doesn't go as far as it used to, right? People that are making what used to be a pretty good fucking salary, a pretty good wage, now finding out that they're making more than they ever have in their life while being the brokest they ever have been in their fucking life too. You know what I mean? So, try to fit those two things together with like a good and trustworthy economy and what the American people are feeling. You fucking crackerjack.
2011. You keep saying that the stock market is doing great, and that is true. But the gains of the economy and nearly all consumer spending are concentrated in the top 10%. Everyone else is broke.
Again, we don't have to go on with this, but do you see how the way she's like, you see how she's like talking about this? It's like, oh my God, Mr. President, I know you think things are going so well, and I don't know if you have like bad people surrounding you, but if you only knew what was really taking place, if you only knew what the American people were actually going through, I know you wouldn't stand for it. Like, shut the fuck up. Who the fuck do you think you're fooling, okay? Who the hell do you think you're talking to? You think the guy doesn't know? I mean, again, how many clips do we have to pull up where the guy says, I don't give a fuck how much hardship the American people are going through. I don't give a fuck how long this lasts. I got billions of dollars. I can outlast the Iranians. The American people, not so fucking much. But he doesn't seem to give a shit. And he said that time and time again. So, again, I saw that. I had to call it out. I know it was somewhat of an aside, but I couldn't let that one slide, especially from fucking her. But all right, let's jump on to this next clip here, this next story I want to talk about, which is the Delaney Hall ICE police brutality, maltreatment of the prisoners that they have under their fucking care, or lack of care is probably a better way to put this. But a huge thank you to the chat. Thank you guys so much for your, again, generosity, compassion, your fucking energy, your persistence, your aggression. Sticking in this fight is not easy. Believe me, I know, having to, do this every single day and look at these things every single day. I know that it has it takes a mental toll. It takes a toll on the psyche. So I just want to make sure to continuously thank you guys and appreciate you guys and thank you guys for, putting up with this and sticking in this fight because of how important it is. And I know it's at the detriment of your health and I know it's annoying and frustrating and blood pressure and the whole 9 yards. So I just want to make sure that, some channels or most channels don't really put the appreciation on the chat that they should. So I want to make sure that I give you guys the shout out that you guys deserve. But let's jump into this here because this one, my apologies. This is just a quick clip here detailing some of what's been taking place outside of Delaney Hall, the detention facility in New Jersey. I should probably start with this one because this will probably set the tone more than the other one will. We've seen police brutality. We've seen violence from ICE. We've seen them, beating up protesters and pepper balls and fucking, flashbangs. We've seen that, right? What you haven't seen before is these fucking cocksuckers now trying to tell you that there is a designated area in which you have your First Amendment right. Okay, that's where we are as far as the authoritarian creep in this fucking country, right? The dissolving of the Constitution in this country. To have them say that, okay, you can't protest. We'll give you a fucking 10 by 8 little square that we put together with these metal bins, right? These fucking little pens that we got. You can speak your mind in that little circle, that little square, but nowhere else can you have your First Amendment right to protest in this country. Like, what in the fuck is that? Again, if the fucking in totality, what is taking place right now doesn't fucking enrage you to the ends of the earth in light of fire under your fucking ass to take drastic action, I don't know what's gonna. I really, really don't. But just to throw this on your screen, this is a veteran out there protesting who's being told that he has a specific zone, a specific fucking First Amendment zone that he can utilize to speak his mind. I mean, what a slap in the fucking face. Talk about getting a full speed kick right in the dick, having served this fucking country, right? Having taken the oath to uphold and defend democracy, to uphold and defend the Constitution of this fucking country against all enemies, foreign and domestic, to have the blood, sweat, and tears and all the other equity that goes into serving this country, to go through the training, to be deployed, to have your friends get sick, die, whatever it may be, lose their minds, go crazy, whatever the fuck happens, it takes a toll on you. To go through all of that, however many deployments, however many tours, whatever the fuck you did, doesn't matter what you did, even if you weren't deployed, we respect you just as much, doesn't matter. But if you guys took that oath, right, you took that fucking oath, and then you came home, and then you were told that you only have a square, a little fucking 10-foot square that you could speak your mind in, right? That's what you fought for. That's what you had brothers die for in Afghanistan, in Iraq, all around this fucking world. So that you could come home and be told that you have a fucking square that you can speak your mind in and nowhere else? Fuck you. How about that? Fuck you. And if that's where we are, the fucking thing needs to be burnt to the ground, okay? If that's where we're going, then the shit needs to fucking, it needs to be in ashes. It needs to be embers at this fucking point. So I just want to show you this quick clip here of, again, a veteran being told that he has a very specific First Amendment zone. And again, somebody showed me in the First Amendment where it details a fucking specific zone. Last time I checked, and from what I recall, the First Amendment zone is the fucking United States itself, okay? That is the First Amendment zone, motherfuckers. So again, here's this clip.
I literally broke my back for this country. You're gonna tell me that's my designated First Amendment zone? Get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm talking. You're laughing over here. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Designated First Amendment zone? 6 years, a broken back, 1 deployment to the Middle East, 3 friends lost in service to this fucking country. And you're gonna tell me that's my designated First Amendment zone? Get the fuck out of here. That's wild. That's unacceptable. Mikey Sherrill, get out of here. Do something about this. One veteran to another, get out of here. Do your job. I have no sympathy. No sympathy. You chose this job. Get out of here and do your job. Be here. Where the fuck have you been? Where were you when they were throwing us under tractor fucking trailers? Get out here, Mikey Sherrill. One veteran to another, I'm calling you out. You chose your job, and I am not going to apologize. Fucking be out here. I sacrificed so much for this country. You're going to tell me this is my designated First Amendment area? I'm fucking offended. How dare you? How fucking dare you? That's my rant today.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah.
And I mean, again, fucking no notes, handled perfectly. If not, he is afforded the right to be even more pissed off in my opinion. But, for a little bit of background and context, the protesters out there at Delaney Hall are protesting and they're out there in support of the hunger strike that is now taking place with the prisoners that are basically held in captivity without a court date, without any fucking, without any legal representation, with fucking horrendous food in horrendous conditions, lights on 24 hours a day, the whole 9 yards, everything that we've heard from, time and time again after report after report of what these ICE and DHS facilities are like. And again, Delaney Hall, just kind of the latest in a long line of fucking highlights and spotlights going on around the country of these actions, and kind of this treatment of immigrants and people they deem as unworthy, brown or black people, basically protesters that they yank off the streets, throw under fucking tractor trailers. That brings me to this one. Here's just kind of a live stream from, I believe, last night. Don't quote me because I know this has been going on a couple nights here. But I believe this is from last night, just kind of showing you, detailing a little bit of the aggression, the violence that is shown by the, I guess, the state police that Mikey Sherrill was supposed to be sending in to protect the protesters. But apparently they decided to just break down the fucking barricades and bum rush the protesters, much like we've seen time and time again, Minnesota, fucking California. I mean, you name it, any place where there's been actions like this kicking off, we've seen fucking, actions from ICE and DHS and the local law enforcement, just like this. So check this out. Again, this is just a short clip from, again, I believe last night, but don't quote me on that. But again, that's kind of irrelevant. It took place, it happened, and this is what is going on. And again, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is after the police had knocked down their own barricades that they had set up, right? Not like the protesters busted down the barricades. It's not like the protesters went after the police. No, much like we saw in St. Paul, right? Much like we saw in Minnesota, it was peaceful. The protesters on one side. Obviously, there was some anti or pro-ICE protesters out there that were stirring shit up as well, as they typically do, whether it was fucking Cam Higbee, the rest of those fucking cocksuckers that are out there, just spraying people with pepper spray in the face and then running to the arms of ICE and DHS for fucking help, even though they have armed security and they were getting fucking pelted with water bottles like they fucking should be. But yeah, it's crazy to see this time and time again. It's still happening. And I know a lot of people thought that this was, not over and done with, but kind of had subsided a little bit because of, Greg Bavino taking a hike, and Greg Bavino was fucking in New Jersey. I think the other day, if I'm not mistaken, I think there was a video of him at the airport trying to show his fucking little ugly mug around these parts. But this continues here.
Oh, somebody got hit. Somebody got hit. There's 5 detainees inside.
Again, United States of America 2022. In case sometime, somewhere in the future, people try to represent this as being in the 60s or some other time, maybe they'll throw a little black and white filter on this. Say it could have been 2026 in America. No fucking way could this be the United States in 2026. Well, yes, it was. Absolutely. And it continues.
Y'all take care of this.
Look at these goofy pricks. Look at these fucking mismatched fat motherfuckers. These pricks that get out of shape getting the fucking mail in the newspaper in the morning. Think because they put on some fucking work boots, they got some Timberlands on and a fucking bulletproof vest and a mask on. Somehow they're like, they're fucking, howdy doody. You know what I mean? Fucking these Bonnie Fife motherfuckers. There you go. Look at that fucking bum rush. There you go. I mean, just to show you that there's violent assholes and then there's extra violent assholes amongst these ranks. Here you go. There's the violent people being violent, and then you get the one guy that thinks he has to go above and beyond, where you just see it right here, just go in bum rush and start fucking beating this skip ahead a little bit. Well, one would assume the trucks going in is either more officers or more detainees going into the facility there. But, you know, good to see in respect and solidarity with the people that are out there outside of Delaney Hall. You know, if it was, you know, a financial option for myself, I would be fucking right there with you. I really would. And I know, you know, the more people out there, the better. And there should be fucking even more people out there. But again, they try to keep you so poor. They try to keep you so down that you're not able to get out there, or you're so fucking, you know, you're so scared about, you know, losing your funds or losing whatever day's wages you might have because of how desperately you need them, that you can't, you know, you second guess yourself. You know, you can't possibly, you know, make these trips. You can't possibly make the journeys to go protest because you can't fucking afford to do it. You're going to lose your house, your kids, your job. You know what I mean? So that's exactly why they try to keep you in this position. But again, respect, solidarity with all of the people out there protesting at Delaney Hall. Again, in solidarity with the people that are being held in horrendous conditions, being fucking fed despicable food, you know, no court date in sight, being fucking worked. The whole 9 yards. That again has been a consistent through line with the treatment of the with the detainees, the people that they've rounded up in their actions, and then again stuffed into these facilities. You know, whether it be the Delaney Hall or again in Minnesota, or you know, any of these other factories and warehouses that ICE and DHS have gone and scooped up and purchased all over the country. Alligator Alcatraz, another one. So again, this is you know, pretty consistent with the treatment that we've seen. What's his name? Mark Wayne Mullen doesn't seem to be a change at all. In fact, he seems to be, you know, kind of carrying up and picking up just where Greg Bavino left off. You know, he's threatening to cancel international flights, which would be an absolute fucking shit show. I mean, the stupidity of these people, again, never ceases to amaze me. But that is a little bit of what's been taking place and continues to take place outside of Delaney Hall Detention Facility. And again, in solidarity, as I believe, again, the last I saw reported, the hunger strike from some of the members, some of the people in the facility continues. Again, so people out there in support, people out there showing solidarity, and like I said, all the respect in the world for those people right there. All right, let's jump into this, because this is a fucking doozy here. This is a doozy. We talked about the other day I think it was a Mediaite or a Daily Beast article detailing how Donald Trump got really pissed off at Pete Hegseth, how there was some dissension among the ranks. There was I believe another New York Times article last week, if I'm remembering correctly, detailing the animosity between the cabinet members, you know, when thinking about enacting the Iran war. So that, again, showed a little bit of dissension among the ranks. Didn't seem like the White House was as cohesive as they'd like to portray. And this is just kind of blowing the doors wide open as far as that's concerned. We've talked about, you know, J.D. Vance in his jealousy, as has been reported or speculated upon by people within the administration that spoke under conditions of anonymity, speaking about how J.D. Vance was a little bit jealous of Rubio and how close he's gotten to Donald Trump, how much more favorability he seems to have because of the willingness to go along with this war, to defend this war, to lie about this war, where J.D. Vance, I think, is kind of, you know, still reserving those political aspirations he may have in the future and trying to really reconcile with the decisions and rhetoric that he's making now and how he's going to have to answer for that in the future. Right. So we've talked about that. Well, this is another aspect, another New York Times article, and it stems from this one right here. I'll just show you the main article because I pulled that one up. Is J.D. Vance the 2028 frontrunner? Trump has questions. And again, there's just a little bit of this. We'll dive back into this. I just want to show you the headlines, but here's a little bit of the kind of minute reporting on it. It says, New York Times reports that Trump thinks J.D. Vance is lame, criticizes his shoes, and makes fun of him. But the one thing he appreciates is his loyalty, like when he chooses Trump over the Pope. He's told Vance he should stop interrupting and be more subservient like those around Xi Jinping. And again, it gives a little excerpt here from that article. Let me see. We'll just go on to read a couple paragraphs of this because I feel like this is, again, really telling of where not only the country is at, but obviously seemingly the relationship and the environment inside of the White House. Let's see here. It goes to say, where do I want to pick it up? When he conducts these polls in private, Mr. Trump often compares Mr. Vance's performance to his own achievements. He has told several allies that Mr. Vance has never won a tough race without his help. Mr. Trump's endorsement of Mr. Vance over the finish line in a tight race for the Ohio Senate seat, has brought up the number of vacations Mr. Vance has taken as vice president. Mr. Trump does not generally take them. Sure he doesn't. He has repeatedly mentioned the vice president's initial opposition to starting the war with Iran, which we've discussed, and has done so in front of Mr. Vance. I'm more of a peace person than you are, but I had to do it, he said to him. So that's Trump speaking to J.D. Vance. He says the president has also questioned his decision to send a Vance-led delegation to a negotiation session in Pakistan that failed to end the war. You guys will remember that disastrous, what was it, like a 22-hour negotiation session that resulted in fucking fuck all. Well, it goes on here because that's another part of which Donald Trump is ridiculing, mocking J.D. Vance apparently behind the scenes. This also goes on to say that Mr. Trump also always keenly attuned to the optics of the presidency. So this also gives a little like fucking backhanded groping of Donald Trump in this, which I'm not too fond of, but I digress, has zeroed in on moments when Mr. Vance might not look the part. He has repeatedly brought up a moment from last spring when Mr. Vance fumbled the Ohio State National Football Championship trophy. I'm sure you guys will recall where he dropped that. I believe that was on the front lawn of the White House? That disastrous moment, again, showing his lack of coordination. It says here on the White House South Lawn, Mr. Trump said he is happy it wasn't him. This account of Mr. Trump's relationship with his vice president is based on interviews with more than a dozen people who are directly familiar with the dynamic between the two men. Some of them were granted anonymity to speak about Mr. Trump's thinking. It says, quote here, Vice President Vance has done a remarkable job of helping implement the president's America First agenda, says Stephen Chung. As he would, right? The guy that typically has to have a bullhorn because he lives inside of Donald Trump's asshole. Otherwise, nobody would be able to hear him. And he's the White House communications director. There has been no vice president in history who has been more empowered. And that is a reflection of a strong trust and relationship between the two. Any false media narratives from unknown and unnamed sources fabricating stories clearly do not have any knowledge of the truth. Mr. Trump, who turns 80 next month, is generationally and stylistically different from Mr. Vance, a Midwestern millennial who rose out of the hard scrabble upbringing and made the struggle the animating force of his political brand. The president, a Queens-born real estate developer, we don't have to go into that. And it says here, in meetings, Mr. Vance frequently scrolls on his phone. He uses social media to fight with his critics. The president frequently posts to Truth Social, but he does not spend time replying to people online as Mr. Vance does. Again, he criticized him for using social media too much, which is fucking utterly hilarious coming from Donald Trump. It says here that Susie Wiles, Mr. Trump's chief of staff, recently advised Mr. Vance to take a break from social media, as others have in the West Wing, according to people familiar with those interactions. Because the fighting was beneath his office, Mr. Vance said he took a break for Lent. So again, not only does it seem like J.D. Vance was told to take a break, but it seems like J.D. Vance actually took that break. He says it was a break for Lent, but there may be a little bit more brewing behind the scenes. It also goes on to say that through it all, Mr. Vance has exhibited the one quality that Mr. Trump most prizes, loyalty. He has put aside his reservations about the war to back the president's handling of the conflict and carried out the traditional number 2 attack dog role against Mr. Trump's critics, even Pope Leo. He remains a popular figure among Mr. Trump's MAGA base. Tony Fabrizio, a longtime pollster for Mr. Trump, said that the president chose Mr. Vance as a running mate in 24 because he appeals to the voters. In an interview, Mr. Fabrizio said that the president saw Mr. Vance as a MAGA warrior that would go out every day fighting for the things that the president wanted. This also says that even so, Mr. Trump has continued to needle Mr. Vance on matters of substance and style, from criticizing his shoes to ribbing him for his tendency to interject in conversations. In November, the president wondered aloud why Mr. Vance was not more subservient like the officials who work for President Xi Jinping of China. Sound familiar to his first administration, where he was asking why the generals in the military couldn't be more like Hitler's generals, why they couldn't be more subservient. They couldn't handle orders and not talk back and not question the Der Fuhrer like the generals for Hitler had. So, he kind of continues the same rhetoric, the same shit time and time again. He falls back on this, like, these like comfort statements that he always goes back to, whether it's 2 weeks or, more than anybody else in the world. You guys have heard them time and time again here. But It goes on to say, why don't you behave like that, Mr. Trump asked Mr. Vance during a breakfast for Republican senators. JD doesn't have to like that. JD butts into conversations. I want to have that for at least a couple days. Okay, JD? Talking about that loyalty and the way that Xi Jinping's people ask around him. People close to the president say that Mr. Vance is in Trump's good graces, but my father always brings up how JD is a savage and annihilates the fake news, like the made-up narrative of this story. Donald Trump Jr. said because that's his best friend and his ally. So again, he's going to have to back up JD Vance in this, I believe, to a large degree. Donald Trump Jr. is the reason why JD Vance got involved with Donald Trump in the first place. Of course, there was other aspects and reasons behind that, but one of the big ones, and here's where Vance fumbled that the Ohio State National Championship trophy. Just broke right in his hands. It says here, despite his misgivings about the war with Iran, he has loyally defended Mr. Trump's decision to start the conflict. He has backed another politically fraught action, the creation of the $1.8 billion slush fund to compensate victims of what the administration contends is political persecution. Let's see here. For Mr. Vance, whose political rise rested in part of his criticism of an excessive American intervention abroad, the Iran war has left him balancing his loyalty to Mr. Trump against the anti-war sentiments of much of his political base. It says Marjorie Taylor Greene, much like Mr. Carlson, recommended Mr. Vance to Mr. Trump for the running mate job. Both have since fallen out of favor with Mr. Trump. In an interview, Marjorie Taylor Greene warned that should he run for the presidency, Mr. Vance will have trouble regaining trust from Republicans who oppose the war. Again, showing the position that JD Vance is in. Basically having to continuously weigh his, anti-war rhetoric and statements that he's made before, with him now supporting Donald Trump and his actions in Iran and all over the world. But again, it shows just a little bit of dissension among the ranks here. Again, whether we're talking about Pete Hegseth, we've already seen people like Tulsi Gabbard. We've seen people like Pam Bondi, Greg Bovino. They've already been axed, and I'm sure there's a couple more to add to that list as well. But again, a lot of people speculating as to what JD Vance's future is in this. Seems like to a certain extent, Donald Trump's trying to keep him in check, right? He's giving him the kind of shitty roles. He's sending him to all of these places that Donald Trump doesn't want to have to go to, or, things that he doesn't want to have to deal with. He's now put him in charge of fraud in Democratic cities. He's talking shit behind his back, whether it's his social media use, the sneakers that he's wearing, his anti-war rhetoric, and how he wasn't kind of fully on board with this war right off the bat. So again, it seems like the things aren't as hunky-dory, aren't as sunshine and rainbows as people would like you to believe. People like Stephen Miller, Stephen Chung, the rest of these pricks. So again, we'll kind of keep an eye on that and where that relationship goes. But as things continue to unfold and get more disastrous, one would assume that relationship kind of gets more fraught, right? There's kind of more tension or dissension amongst the ranks, amongst these people. But again, that's speculation. We can only kind of guesstimate at this point. But let me know what you guys think in the chat. I really do appreciate you guys here every single day joining me and hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, sending in super chats, sending in Venmos, getting merch. We have some new graphics, what do you call them? New graphics. New merch graphics. I don't know. I'm thinking of a word that I can't think of right now, but we have new designs. That's what I was looking for. New designs on the merch site. So make sure you head over there and check that out. BostonBrian.com gives you a link right there to the Blunt Politics merch site. Like I said, we are completely 100% an independent channel. No financial backers, no sponsors. I am not showing you any ads from outside companies during the show. Nothing like that. Everything is done for us, by us, with the help and generosity of the chat here. And we hope to keep it that way for a long time to come, unless I find myself living on the streets, and then, maybe we'll start calling out some sponsors. No, I kid. All right, let's dive into this next infuriating story, as it always is, to talk about this prick and war criminal, as we have to do every now and again. Benjamin Netanyahu, right? So it's no secret. We've said it time and time again on this show, not only what a war criminal piece of shit this guy is, but also the change in rhetoric, the change in comments, in sentiment that you'll hear from Benjamin Netanyahu, depending on whether or not he's speaking in English to a more Western crowd, or to a strictly an American or English-speaking crowd, compared to when he's speaking Hebrew to his own Israeli population, or at an Israeli summit or an Israeli cabinet meeting, whatever it may be. Like the sentiment, he's pretty like he says exactly what he wants to do, and it's a lot different than what he says when he's speaking in English. Put it that way. Well, here's another one, just clearly detailing Benjamin Netanyahu's willingness and in clear instructions to escalate, whether it be in Lebanon, whether that be in the West Bank, or whether that be in Gaza itself. This is going to, again, throw a wrench into the works as far as any peace deals, any negotiations that might in fact even be taking place or even remotely possible in the future. Again, we've seen time and time again the actions of Israel in Lebanon being part of the agreement stated and the sticking points, the key points detailed by the Iranian side. So, whether or not this is going to have some sort of negative impact is kind of tough to tell because you don't know what's in the works. It's hard to have a negative impact on something that isn't real. You know what I mean? So again, that goes back to the fact that you just can't tell what's coming, what's happening, what's real, what's not real. And we just try to, again, put all the pieces to the puzzle together to the best of our abilities to come to some conclusion, right? To get onto whatever page that is, but to all be on the same page. So again, I'll let this one play, but actually, forgive me, I think he's speaking in Hebrew, so we don't really need to play it. Doesn't really matter. I'll read it to you what he's saying. He says, excuse me, I instructed the IDF to expand the maneuver in Lebanon. Our forces crossed powerful obstacles. They seized commanding terrain and captured the Beaufort Ridge, and now my instruction is to deepen and expand our hold on areas that were under Hezbollah control. We are initiating action. We are operating on all fronts in Syria, in Gaza, in Lebanon, in the West Bank, and it will take time. We will complete the mission. So again, not a willingness to stop this war, not a willingness to stop the killing, not a willingness to work with the Pakistanis, the Iranians, and the United States to come to some sort of peace deal, agreement, actual ceasefire, kind of going back to whatever norms we could even possibly return back to at this point in time. But because he's speaking in Hebrew, he kind of gives a clearer depiction, a clearer indication of what his real goals are than he does, like I said, when he actually speaks in English, in the United States or to, United States media or Western media in general. But this is going on. Benjamin Netanyahu, again, throwing a big fucking stick into the spokes of our wheels here. If, in fact, those wheels were turning in the direction of a peace deal, that is, a lot of skepticism going on as far as that's concerned. But again, it just kind of depicts the ridiculousness of the situation and the uncertainty of the situation that we're in right now. But this is happening, right? He's expanding the war in Lebanon. He's expanding the war in Gaza. He's expanding his, settler colonialism. In his push to move the Palestinians out of the West Bank. All of these things, again, drastic red lines, if not for the international community, but for the Iranians as far as seeing protection for their proxies and Hezbollah, and obviously seeing the end of hostilities if, in fact, some deal is going to be reached. But if this doesn't piss you off, this fucking certainly will. This fucking certainly will. So what if I told you in 1942, the United States was going to have some sort of integration plan with the Germans, with the Nazis, as they were engaged in their Holocaust, whether it by bullets or obviously in their established camps that they had set up. What if I told you that's pretty much the equivalent of what's happening right fucking now? And again, if billions and billions and billions of dollars sent to Israel pissed you off every single month, if you thought that was too much, well, wait till you hear what the fuck they're trying to do now. Because this says, as reported by Al Jazeera, Congress advances U.S.-Israeli military integration plan. Let me just make this a little bigger on your screen. Let me zoom in just a touch. I make it a little bit easier for you guys to read here. And we'll go on, because this says a provision in the 2027 draft U.S. defense bill could bind the two countries' weapons industries closer than ever. Okay, and it goes on to say a provision in a bill before the United States Congress could tie the United States and the Israeli militaries far more closely together, deepening their cooperation on weapons research, production, and technology. The proposal, titled United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative, appears as Section 224 of the House Armed Service Committee's version of the fiscal year 2027 NDAA National Defense Authorization Act, the annual U.S. defense policy. The measure is still at an early stage. The NDAA is passed by Congress each year to set U.S. military policy and authorize defense programs and spending levels. If enacted, the provision could mark a significant change in one of the world's closest military relationships, shifting the two countries from a partnership centered largely on U.S. military aid towards one in which where the defense industries are more deeply entwined. So basically operating as fucking one is what I get from this. Section 224 would require the U.S. Defense Secretary to appoint a, quote, executive agent, which is literally a single official to coordinate military cooperation between U.S. and Israel. That work would cover joint research and development, shared production of weapons, and the linking of military systems and data. Palantir, anybody? Quote, what Congress is trying to do now is find different ways of entrenching the relationship so deep in America's own defense industrial base that it's impossible to root it out, says Josh Paul, a former U.S. Department of State official and founder of the advocacy group A New Policy, said about the controversial provision. A new section in the law in the National Defense Authorization Act would give Israel unprecedented access to American technology and would force the United States military to integrate Israeli defense technologies into our own critical military supply chain, giving Israel incredible leverage over America's own defense priorities, he added in a video posted on social media on Friday. So again, not only would be the Israelis would be reliant on the United States aid and the billions of dollars that we send them in aid and weaponry, but now the United States would be reliant on Israeli technology, Israeli weaponry, as per how we conduct our missions, how much, mission success that we have, right? If we have a problem, who are we going to have to go to? The fucking IDF, okay? Again, what extent this is going to break down to, what this, finally means, if in fact it is implemented and put into place, again, is being speculated on right now. Like it says, it's at its early stages. But from what I'm fucking hearing, we're teaming up with the fucking Nazis. That's just, I don't know how else to put this. Again, when they're committing genocide in Gaza, when they're again, breaking international law and committing, crimes in the West Bank, in their fucking violent acts against the Palestinians there that they're trying to just remove from their fucking homeland, remove from their territory. Again, whether it's in, Lebanon, with the civilian population that has been displaced or killed outright in their actions against Hezbollah. I mean, you name it. We could go back fucking generations. We could go back years at this point, right? But like I've told you, this is happening at a time where the support for Israel on the world stage has been reduced. Again, I don't know what the specific number would be, but a drastic amount. Okay, the steep decline in support that has been seen or shown for Israel, again, heavily since the genocidal push into Gaza had started, and obviously people started recognizing what was going on there. It has kind of just fucking shot through the floor. I mean, and we're talking about Democratic politicians, Republican politicians, the Democratic voting base, the Republican voting base, different countries all throughout the planet, allies, enemies, all alike. Right now, pulling their support, talking about how disgusting it is for anybody to continue to support Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, or anything that they're engaged in. I've seen in the UK, I've seen soccer commentators speaking up about this. There's been protests at soccer games about, an upcoming Israeli match happening. I forget who they're actually playing, but, the fans were throwing stuff on the field, hanging signs, utilizing this opportunity to get their message out there at how disgusted they are that anybody would work with, allow the Israelis to participate in fucking anything right now, right? So again, we've seen this on multiple different fronts to multiple different degrees of kind of, again, the support for Israel just taking a fucking nosedive, right? And for good reason, for absolutely good fucking reason too, not for nothing. So I want to make that very clear. But this is, like I said, the United States trying to basically join forces with, integrate the United States military with the Israeli military, and is, put into the 2027 draft defense bill as, Section 224, right? Sounds a lot like a Stalin-esque type of numerical fucking a name given to a project or given to an order, right? What was it? Order 227. Now I always get that one wrong. What was it? Stalin's the never no step back order. Was it order 227? Can you just indulge me for a second here? Order 227. Or am I just completely making that number up? Give me a second. Come on. Uh-oh. I think I overwhelmed the system. Order number 227 was an order issued on 28 July 1942 by Joseph Stalin. My fucking, told you. Fucking those concussions can't hold me back, buddy. Can't hold me back. Order 227. I knew it was something along those lines. So, just the similarities between Donald Trump and, dictators before. This is section 224. Joseph Stalin's not one step back was 227. So, again, you can see the similarities as far as that's concerned. But, I mean, this is craziness. This is fucking outright lunacy, especially at this moment in time. Especially what the fuck's taking place right now. This is horrendously disgusting, and I won't fucking have seen under my watch, okay? I will absolutely fucking not. I'll do anything and everything possible to make sure that this doesn't happen. This is bad news, Barry. Okay, I can tell you that much. Bad fucking news, Barry, and will only go to further hurt the viewpoint or the way that people view the United States on the world stage, the trust, the respect, as if it hasn't gone down fast and far enough under Donald Trump's 2 fucking terms. Now we got to think about this and what the world's going to think about us as we fucking team up with the Nazis during the Holocaust. During the fucking Holocaust is when the United States wants to team up with these Nazis. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but we are definitely not pissed off enough in this country. I can assure you. And let's see. Oh, yeah, let's get into this is beautiful, too, because we're getting into Freedom 250, the disastrous Freedom 250 concert that Donald Trump is now forced to turn into a Trump rally because nobody's going to show up. Everybody's canceled. I think there's about maybe 2. I think Flo Rida and maybe Kid Rock. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but I think they're the last 2 the last 2 the last 2 musicians standing as far as the people that are going to actually perform there. But Donald Trump doesn't want him at this point. Doesn't even want him. He's so pissed off with how disastrous this looks to everybody, and with the way that people have just pulled out of this one after another, that he went on a Truth Social fucking screed, ladies and gentlemen. And boy, do we have to read this one, because he's saying, you know what? All the people that we invited to perform, fuck you. We didn't want you. We didn't like you. You're a has-been anyway. What we're going to do is we're going to turn this, what is supposed to be a nonpartisan celebration for the 250th anniversary of this country, and not specifically Donald Trump. What we're now going to turn that into is a celebration specifically for Donald Trump, which is, again, giving all of the musicians that did back out of this reason to celebrate, reason to feel like they did the right thing, right? Because a lot of them were talking about how they were told it wasn't going to be a partisan event, and it's clearly a partisan event. Donald Trump calling it a Make America Great Again rally. It's as little as fucking political affiliation, right? So this goes on to say, I understand artists to get in, and this is from Donald Trump. I won't actually subject you to what he wrote, because it's a little bit easier if you don't actually look at his True Social post. But he says, I understand artists are getting the yips, which is a golfing term that he expects fucking people to know. It's just, again, the guy's fucking decline mentally and cognitively is just, he's shot. He's fucking absolutely shot at this point. The yips and the capitalizations and the grammatical mistakes and the, fucking, wait till you hear what he says in his interview with Laura Trump. Like, he's now trying to get us to believe that he didn't touch the Iranian military. Can you believe that? He spent 3 fucking whole months telling us that the Iranian military was completely annihilated, completely eradicated. The Navy, the Air Force, the leadership, all of it gone. Missiles, drones, launch sites, the fucking lot was gone. They had no power now. He's talking about in a recent interview, and we'll play this in just a little bit. I'm getting ahead of myself, but it's fucking insane. It's insane in the same interview. It's not like he says it in 2 different interviews. In the same interview, we killed them. We eradicated the Navy. We eradicated the military. But also, people would be surprised. We really didn't go after the military that much. We really didn't touch the military. It's like, what? What the fuck's going on here? Does nobody else hear this? You know what I mean? Like, does even Laura Trump at that point could be like, that sounds completely opposite of what you just said, but I'm going to sit here and clench my lips and not point that out. But all right, I digress. This is where he goes on to say, The performance on Wednesday. Oh yeah, so they canceled. They're getting the yips having to do with their performance on Wednesday. Basically saying they're getting cold feet. Right? The yips is when you start shanking shots, and again, it's irrelevant. It's a golf term. What the fuck he's talking about that for? In this case, I don't fucking know. Anyway, he says one attraction anywhere in the world. The man who gets much larger audiences than Elvis in his prime, and he does so without a guitar. The man who loves our country more than anyone else. He's basically introducing himself, right? He's basically fucking Michael Buffer introducing himself before he himself runs into the ring. You know what I mean? Like he's given himself his like his rap sheet, his like, you know, the things that he's accomplished or the things that he says that he's accomplished, you know, the acolytes. Like this is what he's doing. It's like him behind the curtain, like he was the Wizard of Oz. You know what I mean? Donald Trump, this next guy up here is the fucking most handsome. He's got the biggest dick ever. Boy, he's been laid more than anybody on the planet. He's the smartest son of a bitch. He's been voted the best looking. I don't know by who, but he has been voted the best looking. And no, this isn't me introducing myself. It's like, that sounded a lot like Trump introducing himself. What he says here, the man who gets a much larger audience than Elvis, he does so without the guitar, a man who loves our country more than anybody else, and the man who says people say is the greatest president of all time, and the man who some say is the greatest president in history, the GOAT, in all caps, in parentheses, will take the place of these highly paid third-rate artists and give a major speech rallying the country forward like I have never done ever since being president. So he's calling the artists, these artists that, again, had originally in some way, shape, or form, got an invitation, right, had been chosen, had been picked out, had been fucking separated as far as getting an invitation for this. And because they pulled out, now all of a sudden they're hacks, they're third-rate artists. Nobody wanted you guys in the first place, right? Does this sound familiar with like Donald Trump, the Strait of Hormuz, and our European allies or our NATO allies, where it's like, yeah, we don't fucking need your help, but where the fuck are you guys? We need you. Well, but we don't need you anyway. We could do this all by ourselves. But boy, are you guys assholes for not helping. It's like, wait a minute, you can't have it both ways. You can't have given them the invitation to your fucking concert, and then when they give you the finger in return and say, stick it up your fucking tailpipe, dickhead, you can't turn around and be like, well, we didn't want them anyway. It's like, no, you clearly did. You sent the invitation. Like, what are you talking about? That's you wanting them. Fucking, am I stupid? But then he goes on to say here, 2 years ago, the United States was dead in all caps. Now we have the hottest in all caps, also in quotes, dead for some reason, not in quotes. Maybe he doesn't want to emphasize that as much as he wants to emphasize hottest. I'm not sure. Your guess is as good as mine. But the country anywhere in the world, he goes on to say, I don't want so-called artists that get paid far too much money who weren't happy. I only want to be surrounded by happy people. Happy and people both being capitalized at the beginning. Smart and people both being capitalized at the beginning. Successful and people both being capitalized at the beginning. And people in general just being capitalized at the beginning that know how to win. So by copy of this truth, I am ordering my representatives to look at the feasibility of doing an America is Back rally on Wednesday. So basically just saying we can't find anybody that's going to fucking sing for us. So I guess Donald Trump's going to have to do a rally. And again, this is not going to go over well by any stretch of the imagination, I don't think. But then he goes on to say, Washington, D.C., same time, same location, only great patriots invited. It will be wild and beautiful celebration of America, yada, yada, yada. But what an absolute fucking disaster this is. He can't even get like MAGA leaning in some cases people to perform. And it's gotten so bad that even Republicans are getting embarrassed. Even Republicans are calling him out for this disastrous. And it's not just this concert. It's the totality of the Freedom 250 celebrations, which again should be a momentous occasion for this country. We should have fucking wall-to-wall summer festivities going on, especially up here in New England. It should just be event after event celebrating this country, giving an accurate historical account of what this country has been through. No fucking skipping periods, no beating around the bush from some of the darker periods. Like, that would be a benefit. We could celebrate this country while also recognizing the fucking problems that we have, the horrendous things that we've been engaged in, both deep in the past and obviously more recent, right? I mean, those things too, you can have those things at the same time. You really can. Obviously, the Republicans don't think that's possible. This is Matt Walsh, okay? One of the most bigoted, vile, hateful, racist, transphobic pieces of shit to ever grace this fucking planet, to ever suck in a little bit of fucking oxygen on this planet. This asshole is actually now so fucking fed up with how ridiculous the Freedom 250 events are going that he's calling Donald Trump out on Twitter, which again is not something that a lot of people that have been engaged in the cult for as long as Matt Walsh are willing to do. I know they're few and far between. There are people out there, but Matt Walsh, one of the more die hard of let's toe the party line type of people. So he says, I'm actually pretty pissed off at how badly they've bungled America 250. First, they tried to invite Milli Vanilli and a bunch of other absurdly washed up geriatric one-hit wonders. Then, when that didn't work, they decided to convert the event into a Trump rally where Trump will talk about himself for 90 minutes. This should have been a massive, raucous celebration of the country and its 250th year history. Now it will be a political rally identical to the 10 million other ones we have already seen. And again, he puts up Donald Trump's Truth Social post, in which we just read on the previous post there. But he's not the only one. A lot of people now recognizing this for the disaster that it is. I don't have it pulled up, but like I said, there was a Joe Rogan clip in which he was kind of mocking and ridiculing and pointing out some of the more ridiculous downsides to having a UFC event on the White House lawn, right? He's talking about bugs and lights and heat and shit, when really it's the optics in general. Not only that, but the fact that they doesn't seem like they can get people to show up. Seems like they had to throw out a bunch of memos out in the military like, hey, anybody want to show up to this? Would be happy if you showed up to this. Would kind of pay you if you showed up to this, because nobody wants to show up. But Donald Trump thinks there's going to be 100,000 plus people in attendance that are going to show up for free. But I digress as far as that's concerned. Even this disaster hitting home there with Republicans who are just utterly embarrassed at the way this is being not only held and handled, but also now what's going to come from this. And now it's not a Freedom 250. It's not a celebration of America. It's quite literally just a fucking Trump rally. Okay. And that's not what a lot of people had in mind as far as that is concerned. But let's dive into this next clip here. Again, I really do appreciate Slacks. What's up, Slacks? You fucking hummer, you. I appreciate you, brother. Slava Ukraini. Love you, brother. Love to all my fellow Brian told you. Slack says in the chat, and we appreciate you all the more for it, my man. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody in the chat who hit a membership milestone, sent in a super sticker, sent in a super chat. If you donated memberships to other people, if you got memberships yourself, really, really do appreciate you guys. It's probably the word that I say the most on the show, and I'm not mad about it. Appreciate, right? I feel like being a chatter, coming from a chatter originally, and kind of, recognizing that people don't get the appreciation and don't kind of recognize how much the people in your chat actually go through, whether it's financial support, sharing your show out, talking to other people about it. That is a fucking huge, if not the only reason that these shows actually get out there and do well. So I just think it would be, a lot, it would be beneficial for a lot of these other channels, especially the larger channels, to pay you guys more respect and to show their appreciation for getting those people to the places that they're at now, and being so financially stable and being able to do all of these other different things that they're now able to do. It's because of you guys. It's because of you guys, right? And people like me that are in the chat, that are watching, that are liking, that are subscribing, that are donating, right? That are gifting memberships. That's why these channels succeed. Not because the people on them, not because the fucking person behind the camera, not because of the person with the microphone in their face, because of the chat, because of the community that is built, right? If you build a good enough community, then that will expound, that will, the momentum will continue. And again, that's regardless of who's in front of the camera. So again, that's why I'm so appreciative of the community that we've built here. But here's one community that I am not appreciative of, Benny Johnson. And I'm sure this is going to be no surprise, guys, that Benny Johnson has now put out his 70. Hold on, I have it written down somewhere. Yeah, it must be his 330-second video in the last 2 weeks. Yep, I have it written right here. 330-second video in the last 2 weeks, which he states unequivocally that a deal has been done, that a deal is signed, or a deal is right around the corner. So, all right, I know you guys are surprised that Benny Johnson has another one, but this is, and I'll show you the, I'll show you his thumbnails as I do. Let's see which one this is. This is, I think, the last video that he put out. So, no, excuse me. He's put out a couple more. So he got one about a plane being hijacked, one about France on fire, one about Stephen Colbert, one about It's Happening with, who's that? Spencer Pratt, the sonic boom he covers for some reason. But then he's got this one here. He's got the Islamist threat, and then he's got the, where'd this one go? Oh, final offer. Here's the final offer. I mean, the guy just cannot fucking stop himself. Can't help himself but say that like a deal has been done. Some deal has been reached. Where's the last? Oh, here, It's Happening here. Where's the other one there? I know there was another one. But anyway, I digress. He's got about 414 of these motherfuckers that he's put out there. And again, the thumbnail to this one is no different because this one is titled
Breaking news, JD Vance and President Trump.
Shut up, you fucking grinder hack. It says, It's Happening. Trump in Situation Room making final decision on Iran peace deal. Details leak. Okay? How many times have we heard that now? How many times? Again, the boy that cried wolf at this point, nobody even reports on it unless you're Barack Ravid at this point. Everybody's like, yeah, shut the fuck up. When something's signed, call us. But other than that, shut your fucking trap. But again, here's Benny Johnson trying to get everybody desperately to believe that, even the markets trying probably more than his audience. He's trying to get the markets to believe that a deal is right around the corner because he's consistently trying to point out the price of oil and how it, goes down by a certain percentage, every time that Donald Trump announces some peace plan is in the works, and then immediately goes right back up to where it was, if not higher, the second that becomes apparent that it's not in the works and that the missiles and drones are still being lobbed into, different Gulf nations, into the Strait of Hormuz, into U.S. bases. MQ-9 Reaper drones are being shot down. Strata tankers are still being hit and shit. That's not a ceasefire, and that isn't, kind of detailing the end of this war coming anytime soon. But Benny Johnson has to desperately toe that party line. So again, just a minute or two of this, and I'll get you guys. I'll get on with the our next clip, our next stories as well.
Trump have both confirmed that the Iran peace deal may be happening today. Right now.
Today, it's gonna be today. When was this? Was this yesterday? Sorry. Let me just see when this was put out. Because if this was put out today, we got a lot to look forward to, apparently.
Now,
shut up. How do I find out when it was? This was 2 days ago. This was 2 days ago. So apparently that didn't happen. Apparently this reporting that JD Vance was so sure of didn't happen. Because did you hear about a deal? Did you guys hear about a deal that was signed? Did you hear about a deal that was signed? No. Did you hear about a deal that was signed? No. Did you hear any deals that were signed? Did you hear one? No. How about you? Did you hear a deal? No deals that was signed? Oh, okay. So I was just curious. Maybe I missed it. But apparently 2 days ago, a deal was signed or was very close to being signed, but never got signed, much like everybody suspected.
Inside of the Situation Room where both of them are hunkered down, getting through the final stages of the peace agreement.
Yeah, it's 90 to 95% of that deal is done. The problem is the only 5% that's remaining is like the nuclear aspect. What's going to happen with the Strait of Hormuz? How many billions of dollars that we're going to send Iran? Basically, all of it is somehow encapsulated into that 5%. 95%'s been done, been agreed to. We don't know shit from Shinola about what that 95% consists of, but apparently the 5% is just like that, the small enriched uranium kind of nuclear aspect. I know that really hasn't been a big talking point or sticking point for Donald Trump, really, but apparently that's in the 5%. And then whether or not the Strait of Hormuz is opened, which again hasn't been a huge deal for the world, really hasn't been a problem. We could deal with that for God knows how long. We could continue that into infinity if we wanted. It really hasn't been an issue. Hasn't had any impact on prices or anything like that around the world. Anyway, I digress. But JD Vance and Benny Johnson now telling you that a deal was done, but wasn't done, but was done, but was nearly done, but was never nearly done, but might be done tomorrow.
That will change the world. What will it have in it? Well,
change
we just saw
world.
A hat tip.
Yeah, it will change. He's right, though. He's right. Technically, it will change the world. It will. Because, as you can see, there is a new hard-lined leadership in place in Iran. Not only that, but we're going to be spending or sending them, I should say, anywhere from, I don't know, the reports suggest, and I know it's a wide-ranging kind of, variation here, but anywhere from $20 to $300 billion. Sorry, I can't even say it with a straight face. Even though Republicans, time and time again, love to bring up the It varies. Sometimes they say 1.4 billion. Sometimes they'll go up to like $3 or $4 billion, depending on how, propagandistic they want to be. But anyway, the Republicans love to bring up that talking point. But let me reiterate, let me reiterate that the reports now suggest that Iranian frozen assets, not only that, but any sort of reimbursement for the damages caused in this war, if in fact that is part of the final deal, will somehow possibly total anywhere from 20 to 300 billion with a B. The B that's at the end of dumb, the word dumb, D-U-M-B, it's got a B at the end of it. I know you guys didn't know that. I know it's a shame that you guys didn't know that. But B, as in billions, is now allegedly, reportedly, could possibly be sent to Iran, which is why I'm thinking that in his interview with Laura Trump, Trump was asked and kind of speculated or I should say specified between Iran saying that they would not develop a nuclear weapon and then Iran saying they would not purchase a nuclear weapon, right? Because Iran may be fucking more than willing to give up their enriched uranium, right? If they get 400 billion in return, fuck it. That could buy them a lot of partnerships with a lot of people that may have the technology, the know-how, the education, and the enriched uranium in place to, again, develop nuclear weapons. Or if they already have them developed, boy, would that go. I don't know how much a nuke goes for nowadays, but I'm sure you could buy at least one, right? I'm assuming. I don't know. I'm guessing. But that's why we'll look at that coming up in a second. Anyway, that's the next thing we'll take a look at is 2 or 3 clips. I won't subject you to much of Donald Trump sitting down with Lara Trump, but here's I'll let this go on for another minute.
What's about to happen, and it is going to be biblical. Vance says Iran and U.S. are very, very close to a deal. This is the most optimistic he sounded yet.
If you look at what we've already accomplished here, assuming that we're able to get to a final agreement here, we're reopening the Straits of Hormuz. We've already decimated their conventional military, and we're in a position.
Again, recall that. Stick that in the old memory bank. Okay? Slap that last sentence right in the old bank of the old memories right there. And I know you probably don't have to because of how many times Donald Trump has come out and said the same fucking bullshit. But again, just in case that didn't, stoke your memory, didn't spark your memory there, didn't jog your memory. Here's J.D. Vance saying, once again, that we have decimated the entirety of the Iranian military. Okay? Keep that in mind.
Position where we could substantially step back their nuclear program, not just during the term of this president, but over the long term. That's a very, very good thing for the American people. So we're not there yet, but we're very close. We're going to keep on working at it.
Ladies and gentlemen, what does that mean? Well,
absolutely fucking nothing. What do you mean? What does that mean? What did he say? He said, we're not anywhere yet, but we're going to continue working at it, which means nothing's fucking happening. We're incompetent fucking morons, and the situation remains the same. That's, paraphrasing, of course, but that's what you have to do with these fucking pricks. You have to read between the lines, right? You know what I mean? You got to read between the lines. So what J.D. Vance essentially just said is nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. No change, no difference, no progress, no nothing. Nope. Ceasefire is still fucked. People are still lobbing bombs and missiles and drones into the Strait of Hormuz, into Gulf nations, into U.S. bases, the whole 9 yards. But, ceasefire. But here he is, again, talking about the price of crude, the futures of crude, and somehow hasn't really realized that he looks like an absolute fucking twat bag, much like the rest of these assholes when they talk about like the minuscule drop in oil prices. Meanwhile, as they're fucking saying that, the prices are simultaneously going back up because people are finding out that the reporting from Barack Ravid is absolute and utter horse shit. Much like it has been the last 55 fucking times he's reported the same goddamn thing. So here's Benny talking about the price of oil, and I'll take a look at right now.
Means, if you're following the markets, as we have been doing on this program, that the indicators of Brent crude futures, oil futures, which have collapsed.
Oh, collapsed,
by
baby.
Over 11%.
Collapsed? That's a collapse? I'm sorry, where were they just before this war started? I'm just curious. Can you just refresh my memory and your chat's memory on where the price was before the Strait of Hormuz was closed? Before we decided to get 2 war criminals involved in a war together? I'm just curious. Can you just remind people? Because I'm pretty certain it wasn't 86.74. So how that is like a fucking drastic decline? I don't know. Maybe from what was the peak was it like 115, 117, nearly 120 a barrel at its peak? And I could be off by a couple bucks. Correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but somewhere in the vicinity of that. But again, let's take a look at what it is right now. And again, it's already gone back up. Oh shit! Look at that. Oh man, all of those gains. Oh shit! It's almost like it goes up and goes down based off of almost nothing at all. You know what I mean? Crazy how that happens. So we're at 91.12 as far as Brent, WTI 87.36. So even just today, it's down about 1.58 or 1.70%. But again, that's not shit. Okay, that's not shit compared to where we were before the war, compared to where we need to see the price of oil to get back to anywhere, any price of gas with a fucking 2 in it at the beginning. At the beginning would be great. A 2 at the beginning would be great. You know what I mean? But, we've already speculated and talked about reports that, in some of the worst cases say we could be looking at a pretty substantial amount of years before any return to normalcy is seen, right? So again, even if it's not the worst case scenario, which is what we've heard, 2032-ish, something like 6 years, depending on obviously how long this persists, how long this goes on. The longer it goes on, the longer into the future we're talking about. But even if it's not 6 years, right? Let's say it's 3 years. Let's say it's 2 years. Let's say it's another year, right? How much damage has been caused in just the 3 months of this war so far? Or 3 or so months, 3 and change at this point. Again, I'm losing track of time, reality, and everything else in this. So, I'm assuming it's somewhere in that vicinity. But how much damage has been caused just in that? So if we double that, if we triple that time, if we quadruple that time, or even further, what type of pain and hurt do you think we'll be seeing then, right? Was it a correct calculation by the Iranian regime that they could withstand the United States blockade for a longer period of time than the United States economically could withstand the closure of the Strait of Hormuz? Seems like at this point a pretty good bet, right? Seems like they're winning as far as that point of contention is concerned. We talked about the reports from the United States intelligence agencies that came out and were like, you know what, fuck. It seems like the Iranians have, a much better ability to withstand this economically than we originally anticipated. It's not going to be this 2 to 3 days or a week before they collapse. Now we're looking at, 120 days or even further on into the future before they even have this like emergency situation kick in because of the closure or the blockade by the United States, which again went on to scare a lot of people. Another piece of reporting by the United States intelligence agencies themselves. I like to, specify and reiterate that because it's not the Gaza Health Ministry. It's not, some fucking foreign agency saying this. It's the United States intelligence agencies talking about the amount of capabilities, missile capabilities, drone capabilities, naval capabilities with small attack boats that the Iranians still have to this moment. Contrary to what you've heard from Donald Trump, contrary to what you've heard from the amount of fucking sites that was struck and the amount of control and power that the United States has, right? The amount that they've eradicated the Navy and their capabilities. Well, that's not being borne out by the assessments by the United States intelligence agencies. So I hate to break it to you, but putting all those things together, and it's not painting a very rosy fucking picture for this entire thing. But to show you just how ridiculous some of this is, there's just a couple of these that I want to dive into. Like I said, I won't subject you to too much of this, but some of these are they're too fucking hypocritical. They're too blatantly fucking moronic not to play, right? And again, anytime we can revel in the downfall and the cognitive decline of this son of a bitch, like we're running out of moments here. We're running out of moments that we could laugh at this guy's cognitive decline. I don't know how much cognitive decline he's got left. How much more can somebody cognitively decline? Again, apparently we're going to find out. But in case you didn't notice this North Korea setup, so it's the president of the United States being interviewed by his daughter-in-law in front of a giant fucking image of the fake assassination attempt where Donald Trump got hit on the ear, possibly with a piece of the teleprompter. But decided to look for his shoes. They had to lower the flag. The Secret Service ushered in the photographers into the perfect fucking spot to get this picture that you're now looking at. Obviously, this is a painting representation of the picture, but North Korea, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to North Korea. How you doing? With Kim Jong-un gets interviewed by his fucking sister, and they just sit there in front of the portrait of the king, the Kim family dynasty. I mean, tell me this is different. Tell me in what way this is fucking different right here, okay? I mean, just the fact that he's getting interviewed by his daughter-in-law or whatever the fuck she is ridiculous enough, let's just say, right? Hello? but throw in the fucking fight bullshit North Korea Kim Jong-un picture in the fucking center of this atrocity is again just a pretty clear indication and representation of where we are in this country. I know it is not and probably to a certain extent can never be a full autocracy. He'll never have the ability to be a full dictator, but he has, to a large degree, pushed that envelope so far that he's gotten the closest that anybody, hopefully anybody, will ever come to having that dictatorial rule in this country. Okay. Like there are still, roadblocks and handcuffs in place to a certain extent, but this guy is right now feeling the most power, the most ability to be corrupt, the most ability to enrich himself, the most ability to lie, cheat, and manipulate the American people than any president has ever been afforded in this country. Right now, at this moment in time, we are the closest to an autocracy, the closest to a dictatorship that we have ever fucking been in the history of this country, as we're trying to celebrate, or should be celebrating, the 250th anniversary of this country. That's where we are. That's where this fucking experiment has led us to, again, the closest point to autocracy we could possibly get to at this point. And it's only getting worse. And it's only because, again, he learned in his first administration who he had to put in position and what positions he had to put them in, right? He knew that he had to take over the DOJ. He knew that he had to somehow get control over the Supreme Court. He knew if he had power over the fucking Senate and the House, it would be all set. If he had the Pentagon, if he had the DNI, if he had the State Department, if he had the fucking, the Attorney General, the whole 9 yards, and it goes down, the list continues, right? If he had those people that were just 100% willing to be loyal and sycophants to Donald Trump, to never be the person to tell him no, to always obfuscate and defend everything that he does, that's how he got the proximity to being an autocrat and a dictator that he now utilizes right in this fucking moment. Okay. But, as for what these clips are about, this is where he says, and I bring this up because it is now a change in rhetoric by Donald Trump. And I think it's for a very specific reason. I think that is because of the money that Donald Trump said will never change hands. Donald Trump, we played it on this show. We played the clip on the show where he promised they have so much power and prestige. They have kicked the shit out of Iran so badly that no fucking chance will we ever have to pay for their surrender, right? We should never have to pay or hand over $1 for their capitulation, for them handing over their enriched uranium, because they've been defeated. They're dead. They're done. They're bye-bye. Like, we're not going to have to spend $1. Meanwhile, now we're talking about, and again, like I said, they're reporting anywhere from $20 to $300 billion, depending on what the final agreement stipulates, whether it's frozen assets, whether that is, again, return of funds, or, again, I'm blanking on the word, but money for, any damages occurred inside of Iran as a result of this war undertaken by the United States and Israel, like the tune of, we're talking possible hundreds of billions of fucking dollars here, which, again, I don't know, could go buy a couple missiles. I'm just saying. Could go buy a couple missiles, could go buy a couple warheads. I'm sure the Iranians have the Chinese, they got the fucking Russians. I mean, if they go to the fucking Russians' doorstep with a couple $100 billion, I'm sure the Russians would have no fucking problem shipping over a nuke. Just saying. So I think Donald Trump is now having to stipulate this, because if he just has them say that they will never develop a nuclear weapon in the future, and then they go on to use the fucking $300 or $400 billion that we're about to hand over to purchase a nuclear weapon, boy, will he be fucked. Holy shit. Would that put him in a fucking terrible, terrible spot. But here he is again, adding in that secondary aspect of now he has to say that they will not purchase a nuclear weapon. And you guys let me know in the chat why you think there may be a change. It's possible that he just doesn't believe that he could get Iran to agree in full with the stipulations he's already come out with. Again, I don't think that's very likely, but you guys let me know in the chat why you think he's now kind of changing his tune a little bit to not just develop one, but now buying one. Like, if they get rid of all their enriched uranium, what is he now afraid of that he wasn't saying before? Is he afraid of, again, their relationship with Russia and China? I mean, that's going to be a bad thing to have to say if you just came out of a meeting with Xi Jinping, talking about stopping weapons sales to Taiwan, giving Xi Jinping everything he wants as far as access to American companies and access to chips and being able to enrich himself off of these American companies, or $1 trillion in investment into land into the United States to build Chinese factories, whatever it may be. It wouldn't be a very good look for him to come out of that meeting and have to say that fucking Xi Jinping or Vladimir Putin is now selling the Iranians a nuclear weapon after they had given up their enriched uranium and made Donald Trump look like a complete fucking nutter.
What does a good deal look like for you?
Well, first of all, there's no deal that's good enough because the media will cover it. And we're making a great deal. We're going to make it a great deal. Or we'll just go back and finish it off militarily. But this would go faster. It's probably better.
You guys do. Again, I ask these questions, and I know to a large extent you guys know the answers, and you're well informed and educated, and it's just the audience that I'm talking to. Forgive me for phrasing these questions sometimes like this. But does nobody notice the difference between we have a great deal that's going to be signed and then the discrepancy between if we don't, we're going to bomb the shit out of them? Like, again, does that not show clear distrust in the process? Like, he doesn't have very much confidence in the ability to come out with a plan, so he's got to stipulate, well, if we don't, we're really close to one, it's definitely going to get done. But if not, we're going to go in and start bombing the shit out of them again with the Secretary of War, and we're going to unleash Pete Hegseth, whatever the fucking he says there. But obviously, Laura Trump's not going to call that out, but I'm hopeful that the rest of the American public, the rest of the people that watch this, recognize the discrepancy between, again, calling for a peace deal and then in the very next sentence being like, well, if not, we're just going to bomb the shit out of them type of thing. So, again, kind of shows you, how far away still we are from anything taking place in this as far as a peace deal, even though the amount of time that they've been talking about it, right?
Better on a humane standpoint. There's something nice about it also. Save a lot of lives. Whether it's the other side or not, you save a lot of lives. But we're close to a very good deal, and if we can make it good, otherwise we just start up with the Department of War, as we call it. And it's been very successful. You saw Venezuela. It was a one-day win, and this is really a win already. We've defeated their military, essentially defeated their military.
We've defeated their military. Again, reminder what J.D. Vance said, reminder what Donald Trump has consistently said for the last 3 months, the eradication, the annihilation, they've obliterated the military, all of those things. Remember that, recall that, please.
I would rather get a deal because we can open the strait immediately upon signing. The one guarantee that I have to have is that there will be no nuclear weapons. They've agreed to that. And it was very interesting. They originally said, we will not develop a nuclear weapon. I said, well, what happens if you buy a nuclear weapon? So now it says we will not develop or in any way purchase a military weapon. That's a big difference. So
it is a big difference. It is a big difference. It's almost like you're ready to, and you're kind of already resigned to the fact that you're going to have to send them fucking an exponentially more, a bigger amount of money than anything that was afforded to them in, the JCPOA. And again, you could go back and look at the details from that. And it wasn't just a fucking, a handing over of money. It was, with Iran and Iraq's dealings beforehand. And then there was some money added on top of it for, I don't know what the specific terminology was given, but it was about $400,000 plus added on interest for the amount of time that it had been. But again, even all of that doesn't even fucking come close, pales in comparison to the stack of money, the stacks of money, I should say, the plane loads of money that Donald Trump will apparently, end up sending to Iran, and now is a little bit worried about what they might have to do or what they could do with those funds. And again, that's even if they do give up their enriched uranium. And then there was a couple of them here. What was these other ones? There was another one that I wanted to show you as well. Iran is in a very bad position. And then there was one where he's talking about the military. I'm probably going the wrong way, though. Let's see here. There was that one. Am I going the wrong way? There was about 100 of them last time I checked. Let me see if I can just find that other one. Oh, here we go. That's the one where he's talking about Democrats. That's ridiculous for him to say. He sounds like an idiot. Here it is. Here it is right here. This is where he says, and again, recall what we just heard. This is the same interview. Okay. Just stated that the Iranian military has been eradicated. They have taken out their first level leadership, their second level leadership, the second and a half level leadership is something that he says, whatever the fuck that means. He's negotiating with the other half of that third. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't make any sense. But this is where he says that they left their military alone now. I'm sorry, you what? You left, I'm sorry. I could have sworn you just said you left the Iranian military alone. And that's after fucking nearly 4 months of telling us that you eliminated them, like altogether eliminated them, all like the entirety of the military. This wasn't even like, a certain percentage or, a little bit of them or enough where they got scared. No, we're talking, he was saying the fucking whole shebang was gone, eradicated, dead, deceased, fucking no longer, right? Fucking in the grave, buried under sand, wherever the fuck they were, they didn't exist anymore. Well, here he is talking about how people are going to be really surprised. And yeah, they're going to be really surprised considering, again, the fucking things that you've been saying over the last fucking 3 months and change, that again, to fly directly in the face of what you're about to say here. Listen to this. And again, try to pair this up with his past previous statements and what you just heard from JD Vance about 3.5 minutes ago about the eradication, the annihilation of the Iranian military. Check this out.
On 100%. Their military, we've sort of left it alone because we think that their military is somewhat moderate. They have other people that aren't moderate. We've taken them out. We've taken different forms of leadership out. We've actually left their military alone. People would be surprised to hear that. Because mistakes have been made in wars where you wipe out everybody and then you have a country that's, for 40 years can never rebuild. You look at what happened.
That's what he said he did. That's what he says he did. That right there is exactly what he said he did. He took out so much of the leadership that they've been thrown into chaos. He doesn't know who he's talking. These are things that he said with his own mouth, not me. These aren't things that I've said. These are things that he said. They've taken out so much of their leadership. They've been thrown into so much chaos that they don't know who they're speaking with. It's become so difficult now for them to have negotiations and talks because there's so many different, factions. There's so many different people and power players trying to make a move, and there's no real head of state. There's no real leadership or anything like that, that it's made it difficult. And it's thrown the country into chaos, which, again, out of Donald Trump's own mouth, has said, made it very difficult to come to some sort of deal or agreement. That's what he just said. That's what he just said. He bombed them so much. He fucking took out so much of the leadership. He did so much damage that he made it more difficult for him to come out of some sort of deal, some sort of agreement because of the chaos that the country has been thrust into. Right? And again, this is from Trump's rhetoric. This is from Trump here. Jeez.
Iraq, we did so bad. That was such a foolish thing, what we did. Shouldn't have been there in the first place, by the way.
Yeah, and we shouldn't be in Iran here anyway. This joker. What an absolute joker. Does he not know he's speaking directly about himself, right? And this is where he says we shouldn't have been in Iran. Here's another one where he says the same thing. You're right. He shouldn't have been there in the first place, but I don't think he knows what he's saying quite.
Shouldn't have been there in the first place, by the way. And shouldn't have been in Iran, but Iran has
correct.
The capability. If we didn't hit them with the B-2 bombers 9 months ago, they would have a nuclear weapon right now.
Yeah, if we didn't hit them 9 months ago, they would have had a nuclear weapon 37 years ago, said Benjamin Netanyahu. So again, I know I'm running out of time here. I'm probably going to go a little bit long today. If you'll allow me, if you'll stick with me. Here was another one of these reports here. This is a KC-135 stratotanker here. Took shrapnel damage from an Iranian strike in Saudi Arabia. This is reported 20 hours ago. Photos of the patched holes on its tails were spotted. And again, you can see, pretty clear damage here where it had either been patched or, again, had taken off the paint. But, luckily nobody hurt, nobody injured as far as I could see reported there. But just to show you how ridiculous this ongoing talk of a ceasefire is, here's some of the craziness that Donald Trump's been posting. Here's his drone port on top of the ballroom. Sorry. But that's his drone port on top of the ballroom there. He's had a bunch of these. As well. And again, in case you're looking at learning a little bit more about this investigation into the $1 billion contract from some of Trump's closest allies in Bosnia-Herzegovina. There is an article here. It's a Guardian article, and I will just real quick, I'm going to link this to you guys in the chat if I can. That way, in case anybody wants to kind of get more informed or read the rest of that article, you can on the ongoing and blatant corruption from not only Donald Trump, his family, but people inside of his circle as well. So I just threw that in the chat for you guys in case you guys wanted to check that one out as well. All right, we dive on though, because I digress. What do you say we dive on to a little bit of Ukraine coverage, and then I will get you fantastic, fucking fabulous people out of here for the day. You guys can enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hopefully the sun is shining where you're at. Hopefully no medias are raining down on your fucking positions. What an absolute shit show of a timeline, huh? Medias, wars, fucking fraud, $250 notes with the fucking president on it, painting the fucking reflecting pool. Like the whole thing is just, it's asinine. It's an asinine timeline. Oh, it'll make you nuts. I might need a fucking week off at some point. I don't know. I can't afford it, but Jesus Christ, I feel like I'm fucking losing it. Oh, fuck. I'm losing it. All right. Anyway, what do you say we dive into this? Let's keep going, Brian. Keep going. Focus. All right. I can do this. All right, just a couple videos here detailing what's been going on over the last couple days. I know there was a successful Ukrainian strike on some of the Chechens. I know there was another successful strike down in Crimea. And I do believe I have, this one here, this new video from the Geo Network, which I don't believe I'm familiar with, but seem to do a pretty good job at detailing the dangers that Crimea is under right now, between the land bridge and obviously the Kerch bridge under threat, and the ability, like I've been saying, there's not many geographical areas in this fight where the Ukrainians have a real possibility of cutting off, if not the entirety, but a very substantial portion of the supplies, food, ammunition, fuel, anything like that can get into an area. Right, resupplies on the front can be, rerouted. It may take a lot longer. You may not be able to get as many trucks through, but it's very difficult to shut off entirely the resupply to the front. Well, Crimea, like we've been saying, seems to be that geographical position, that spot in which it's most likely, right? I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen. I'm just saying it seems to be, looking at the geography of it, obviously the different ways that the Russians get their supplies into it is very minimal. They don't have many ways or routes in which to do it. It seems to be that is what the Ukrainians are focused on here, and that video is upcoming, but I just wanted to dive into this one as well. Share this on your screen. This is from The Sun, and this is just Ukrainian attacks another drone, Ukrainian attack, drone blitz, another Russian oil refinery in a huge blow to Putin. So again, just showing you consistently that the Ukrainians are targeting these oil refineries, both inside of occupied Ukraine and inside of Russia. This has, again, the ability and the information gets back to the Russian people, regardless if it's in Crimea, regardless if it's in Russia, that the Russian air defenses aren't up to the fucking job, right? To the extent in which the Kremlin and the government would have their population believe that they were like untouchable, no drones could get through. Time and time again, the Ukrainians are showing that that's just absolute fucking horse shit. So this is just a real quick. We don't have to get through the whole thing. I don't even believe there's any commentary on this one. I believe this is another one of those just kind of, and I could be wrong. Like I said, I could be wrong. Let's just get into it and I'll shut the fuck up. So it says Ukraine staged a major drone attack on an oil refinery in the southwestern Russian city of Saratov, setting the facility ablaze. Again, obviously good to see every time that the Ukrainians have success, because like I said, it's not just the damage that is done, but it's a psychological weapon as well, letting these people know that they're not in fucking safe territory. They're not out of this war. They're not out of harm's way, and their fucking air defenses can't do dick. You know what I mean? If they're sitting there thinking that they're safe because of the guns that they have surrounding them, then they got another fucking thing coming, which is, again, it's a double-pronged aspect of these attacks, the message that they send, the propaganda wars, the propaganda victories that go along with them as well. Showing some footage in the background from different angles, and it looks to me like the Russians are struggling with this internet control. Obviously, the Telegram shutdown. This is obviously posted on Telegram. Supernova Plus is one of the the more prominent places that this footage is kind of shown or featured as well. But this is from a Telegram channel, and clearly the Russians not heeding the advice of the government in not posting this stuff. Really not too worried or concerned about the backlash, retribution, or how against the law this is as well. The Russians just don't seem to have the ability to crack down on, again, the number of Russians that are still utilizing the internet and Telegram and sites like that the Russians have been drastically trying to crack down on. This dark smoke could be seen billowing over the destroyed plant. I don't think I needed them to tell us that. I think we did see that pretty clearly. I'm going to speed it up just a touch because, like I said, there's no commentary on this. It's just these updates every now and again. So some more footage coming in from Russians. So we go back in here. Meanwhile, another strike triggered an inferno at the Matviv Kergan oil depot close to the Ukrainian border. So another successful strike here by the Ukrainians. Clearly see that in the background. Let me see what else they got here. Ukrainian drones hit multiple targets in a wave of strikes on the Russian port city of Taganrog, which is good to see there. Here's another aspect of that where it says Ukraine's unmanned systems forces said 2 Tupolev Tu-142 aircraft and an Iskander missile system were located at a military base and hopefully taken out. Good to see. Again, very expensive and hard to replace aircraft for the Russians. Again, any military piece of equipment taken out is very difficult. Some more than others, obviously, for the Russians to replace, especially in a very expedient amount of time. To get it back to the front if they in fact can replace it in any amount of time that would help stop any of the attacks coming. There's another system that was taken up by the Ukrainians. And this is all yesterday. You can see 35/2026, so that's the 30th of May 2026. They do it they put the dates backwards to how we do it, which is why I don't know if you guys have noticed I've started doing it myself. I continuously say 31 May, 30 May. I feel like I'm turning Ukrainian. Again, I digress. I know I'm a little bit over time, so I'll put this one on as well because this is just a quick update here, giving us a little better understanding of what the problems facing the Russians are as far as Crimea, and just giving you a better kind of look at the actions that the Ukrainians have to undertake and the geography in which they're dealing with. So, like I said, if we can just play a minute or two of this one, and then I have another one here by the professor, kind of detailing another very good night, another successful couple nights by the Ukrainians in strikes inside of, again, occupied territory and Russia. And I believe that's the last one that I have. So I'll get you out of here on that one. We'll just play, like I said, a couple minutes of this if I can get you through it, and then we'll jump onto that one. I appreciate you guys. Slava Ukraini, Heroyam Slava. Thank you guys so much for your help with the NAFO campaign. Thank you guys so much for your support of my passion here, of supporting the Ukrainian military, of supporting the Ukrainian people against their fight against the Russian horde. And again, the biggest war in Europe since World War II. So I really do appreciate you guys for accommodating my passions, the things that I'm interested in and passionate about. So I really do appreciate it.
Strategy around Crimea. He spent a decade turning the peninsula into the most fortified piece of territory in Europe, a 250-year-old naval base, power projection into the Mediterranean, approval ratings that surged to 89% after the 2014 annexation, the cornerstone of the narrative that holds his regime together, indispensable for Putin, but equally so for Ukraine, for the opposite reasons. As long as Crimea remains in Russian hands, peace is an illusion. Caliber missiles launched from Sevastopol reach Kiev. The Sea of Azov stays locked. Mariupol can never function as a port.
That's another thing before I forget. That's another thing. Hand up accountability on this channel. Right hand up accountability. I'll put my hand really high on this one. I do have to apologize. I have been mistaken. I want to say for at least the last week of reporting, for some reason, I was looking at a map and I had the Sea of Azov in my head. I had it in my head, and then every time I looked at the map, for some reason, it just continued to pop back in my head. But speaking about the Zaporizhia front, I was talking about the Russians trying to utilize the banks of the Sea of Azov to get up into Zaporizhia. I was incorrect. I was mistaken. It is the Dnipro and not the Sea of Azov. So again, right hand up accountability on that one. My apologies. I never like to mislead you or misinform you guys, and I will absolutely correct myself anytime I realize that I was wrong, incorrect, mistaken, anything like that. So again, right hand up accountability. My apologies. It was the Dnipro and not the Sea of Azov. For some reason, I just had that. I was kind of solely focused on the Sea of Azov for some reason. I was looking at some sort of map around that and what was taking place around that. And for some reason, it just kind of got locked in my system. So again, my apologies. Just like to correct myself before I forget.
Southern Ukraine lives under a permanent existential threat. If the peninsula is retaken, the message to every authoritarian regime is clear. Conquest can be reversed, and the pressure on Putin is growing by the day. Supply lines are under fire. The fleet has retreated. Air defenses are being stripped every night. On the front, the offensive has stalled. Behind the lines, Ukraine's drones reach from Moscow to the Caucasus. If this war is going to end, it ends in Crimea. Both sides are locked in. Ukraine must take it back. Russia believes it can never let go, and according to retired Lieutenant General Ben Hodges, the balance has already begun to shift. Crimea is the decisive terrain of this war. Liberate Crimea and everything changes. He laid out exactly how it would happen, in 3 phases. Phase 1 is already underway on the ground.
And I don't know, nothing to take away from Hodges or his experience or intelligence in all of this, but I don't think that's like going out on too big of a limb, right? I don't think you really need to be like a military expert to say if the Ukrainians can take back Crimea, it would change the war. Again, I digress, but I think that's kind of a pretty clear understatement, right?
To understand why Hodges is so focused on Crimea, you only need to look at the map. Crimea is a peninsula, but logistically, it behaves like an island.
Again, I'll just let him go over this, kind of detailing of the geography of it all, and then we'll dive on to the last video by the professor. We'll get into thanking some people, all of you fantastic people that were nice enough to throw in a buck or two to the Venmo, which is up there in the corner of the screen. You just open your camera, take a quick picture of the QR code, send you right to the Venmo. Again, a buck. That's all we ask for, $2 at the very most. Again, if you think we're, deserving of more than that and you have the financial capabilities, I'm not going to stop you, but I definitely don't want to be taking away from any other aspects of your life. I want it to be the people that can forget about the $1 or $2 that they put into the chat and not worry about that going on with their day, that really are supporting and doing what they can. And that's why I want to expand the group and expand the community to take the burden off of the people that have been supporting this show for a long, long time now. Because I know, if you guys are anything like me, you're not the most affluent, we're not the most well-off people by any stretch of the imagination. So I know and I recognize that you guys are doing as much as humanly possible, and I love you and respect you all the more for it. So, all right, just a quick geography lesson here about the importance of Crimea in case you weren't up to speed, and then we'll dive into the professor's update about a couple records that Ukraine shattered. Apparently, don't know if we'll make it that far into the video, but he does detail some of the overnight strikes from the last couple nights that Ukraine had successfully undertaken. So, what do you say we dive into, like I said, another minute or two of this one? We'll go into that one. I'll get you guys out of here. I appreciate it.
Everything the garrison needs arrives through 2 choke points: the Kerch Bridge from the east and the M14 highway corridor from the north through occupied southern Ukraine. Cut both, and the peninsula becomes an island. And islands under siege have a very specific history. Singapore, 1942. 80,000 British soldiers surrendered 2 weeks after the supply line was cut. Guadalcanal. The Japanese garrison starved when the U.S. Navy severed the Tokyo Express. In both cases, the fortress was strong. The walls held. But the supply line didn't, and that decided everything. But Crimea isn't just a military problem. It's the emotional and political center of gravity for both sides. Sevastopol isn't just a port. It's Russia's only gateway for power projection into the Mediterranean.
No, I know. I just saw Rachel in the chat say too that he's kind of, hyperbolically optimistic sometimes in Ben Hodges, which can be a bit much sometimes. I agree with that. And then somebody else said that kind of blind. Yeah, I think it was Dustin. Dustin said blind optimism annoys me, which is, guys, why I try to keep us level-headed, based in reality, right? If there are
and the Middle East.
If there are aggressive Russian attacks against Ukraine and they're devastating, and it's hard to look at, we report on that. If there's territory gained by the Russians on the front, you got to report on that. And again, on the flip side, we're more than happy and more than willing to obviously report on any of the successes from the Ukrainian side as well. But you don't want to give anybody that false sense of security, that false sense of hope. This is a long battle to go. This is, we still have a lot to accomplish, to say the very least, if in fact, ultimate victory is to be achieved. But, that aspect of, how I rein in the military show, right? We take their information and we take it with a grain of salt. And anytime I feel like I have to reel them back in as far as, the collapse of the Russian front or, the war being over, anything like that. That's why I try to do my best to keep us level-headed, in tuned with what's going on in reality and not just this kind of hyperbolic fantasy fucking vision of what's taking place. So, I appreciate you guys and what you're saying in the chat, and I'm right there with you, and hopefully you guys recognize that and how we report on this war and on other things as well. Like I said, I don't care what color you are, what political party you're affiliated with, what your fucking bank account looks like. If you fuck around, you're going to find out. If you do anything to the detriment of society, you're going to fucking hear about it. And if you, can be rightly criticized, you're going to be rightly criticized on this channel. And I don't give a fuck who you are or who you work for and anything like that. So that is a pretty consistent through line, hopefully in the way that we do all of our reporting here, but only you guys can let me know. Let me know where I can do better, and let me know where you guys think I'm doing a pretty good job. So thank you guys.
Sebastopol means the collapse of Russia's entire southern strategic depth. Hodges is blunt. No peace negotiation can succeed if Russia keeps Crimea. It would mean permanent dismemberment of Ukraine and a dangerous precedent for every occupied territory on Earth. And Hodges has a model for how this changes. Not through invasion, through strangulation. Hodges' model consists of 3 simultaneous phases, not sequential, all 3 operating at once, reinforcing each other. Phase 1, isolation. Cut every route feeding the peninsula. The bridge, the highway.
I feel like this is already underway. And I'm not saying like the plan is wrong or anything, but I feel like they're trying to give a little bit too much credit to Ben Hodges for being like, the mastermind behind the plan, when I feel like this is already being enacted. Clearly, they're having huge success on the Mariupol to Military into Crimea highway. We've reported on that in detail over the last few shows and beyond. Clearly, the Kerch Bridge there is a very fucking, blatant and well-known target for the Ukrainians as well. So I feel like that's not only taken place already by the Ukrainians in this area, but in other areas of the front as well. We've talked about how they're trying to push that kill zone from, the mile, 2 miles, 5 miles from the front to, expand that to 10, 15, 20, 30, 100 kilometers beyond the front lines, where the drones can just kind of make it very difficult for the Russians to get vehicles, resupply, fuel, ammunition to the front. I feel like that's already, happening. You know what I mean?
The sea lanes, the pipeline, squeeze them all. Hodges is direct. Eventually, that bridge will come down. But you don't even need to destroy it. Just stop the traffic. And that's precisely what's happening.
Much like the Strait of Hormuz, right? Much like the Strait of Hormuz. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Ukrainians taking that bridge out. We've seen time and time again, if they strike, if they strike on it, but it doesn't fully destroy it, or if they strike near it, it can have a similar effect, right? It could stop either the civilian traffic, or at best, it could stop all traffic for, whatever period of time, which obviously has an impact on the front lines. So again, I feel like that's, kind of the Strait of Hormuz theory effect going on right there, where you don't necessarily have to take it out, but just, make them fucking very aware that you have the coordinates and the ability to strike that at any moment in time, and people will have to respect that, right? So, all right, let's see if we can dive into this last one. I appreciate you guys. I know I'm a little bit over on time, and I do apologize about that. But again, this is just, like I said, about a minute or two of this. We'll get into thanking some people, and I'll let you carry on with your weekend, carry on with your Sunday. And again, this is just Professor letting us know that Ukraine shattered multiple records today, and I believe over the last couple nights. And like I said, I'm not sure if we get into that deep into the to the video where he's detailing the records, but he is detailing some of the effective Ukrainian strikes over the last couple nights. So again, if we can learn anything further from this, let's do it. And then I'll get you guys out of here. I appreciate you guys. Hit that like button. My name's Brian. This is Blunt Politics. We are just the little political podcast that could. I am just a former plumber trying to do my best to get this country on the right track and to speak up, in defense of the opposition, as a part of the resistance, to make sure that everybody knows exactly what side of history we lie on, and that I'm not going to just, that hopefully proves to people that I'm not just going to sit back and watch this country fucking dissolve. And especially because of the Republican Party and Donald Trump in particular, and that I took it upon myself to do something, to create this fucking, this channel, to create this account, to create this platform, to build the community here so that we could have the most fucking weight thrown behind our punches to make sure that we could change, stop, impact in whatever way possible what's taking place in this country, which is obviously having an impact on many other countries throughout the world. So again, shout out to the professor. Let's just see if we can see of any of the Ukrainian attacks overnight or the last couple nights that were successful.
It's May 31st, 2026. And yesterday was a big day for Ukraine, and today was another big one. It just strikes on a number of oil facilities. I'll show you all those. And then records set on the battlefield in two different categories, and I'll show you that. Let's just move forward here with the overnight strikes and start with this. Around 200 drones were fired from Ukraine into Russia. And we're going to look at these patterns, one going here, one going here, and down into Krasnodar, right? Let's look at each of these separately. Russia sprawling Saratov oil refinery. Our sun rises over pillars of smoke coming from the refinery complex. That is what we're seeing. Here's the base of the refinery and the smoke flying over it or drifting over the.
Hello? Where'd you go?
Area. This is what we're looking at where Saratov is out here. This is the Unmanned Systems Forces confirmed that they hit the Saratov refinery overnight on May 30th. So Saratov oil refinery, the facility is part of Rosneft and is an important producer of petroleum products for the Russian domestic market. The refinery is capable of producing more than 20 types of products, including fuel used to support the needs of the Russian military and impacting the Russian domestic market. Excuse me, that's also important. I'm going to show you today in my economics video just how the screws are being turned on the Russian economy through these attacks. Ukraine's general staff confirmed strikes on Saratov refinery, 7 million tons per year. Ukraine's forces also hit Lazarevo in the Matveev Kurgan.
Lazarevo, Matveev, Kurgan, command post, UAV sites, and a drone workshop. So again, just kind of detailing some of the other impacts, some of the other effective strikes. This also goes to talk about a deep strike 1,200 kilometers inside of Russia. Lazarevo oil transit station in Kirov region struck by Ukraine 1,200 kilometers away. The major node is responsible for pumping oil from Siberia to various oil refineries and export port terminals. And again, just to kind of fly through the rest of these. Ukraine's 46th Air-Mobile Brigade destroyed, among other targets, a rare imported 107mm MLRS, likely a Chinese-made Type 63 or North Korean Type 75. The 12-barrel light rocket system is designed for rapid strikes against area targets. So again, another successful strike there by the Ukrainians. Let's see here if we could detail anymore. Russia's overnight drone activity. Ukraine downed or suppressed 212 out of 229 Russian drones overnight on May 31st after Russia launched Shahed, Geberes, Italmas, and decoy UAVs from Russia in occupied Crimea. 14 strike drones hit 11 locations, though. Again, can't get them all, unfortunately, unless we start, again, really sending them some new and better and, obviously more numerous air defense systems. It says Russia is reportedly preparing to conduct another massive strike against Ukraine. So again, something that they have to prepare for as well, obviously showing the need for better and more numerous air defenses. Ukraine has received another Iris-T air defense launcher from Germany, President Zelensky said. The president added that Russia launched more than 2,300 attack drones, nearly 1,560 guided aerial bombs, and 108 various missiles against Ukraine over the past week alone. So again, just kind of further detailing the need for that. And again, just a little update on the death toll here. Over the last 24 hours, we have seen another almost 1,600 orcs removed from the battlefield in one fashion or another. Very substantial. We're now up to 1.364 million Russians removed from the battlefield. As per here, the Kyiv Independent reports, another 2 tanks were lost by the Russians, another 14 APCs, another 57 artillery systems, another 524 vehicles and fuel tanks, again showing the efficacy, again showing the success that they're having on that Melitopol to Mariupol highway. Again, 19 unmanned ground vehicles, pretty substantial 24 hours here. Another almost 2,000 UAVs downed by the Ukrainians, taking that up substantially to about 320,000 UAVs destroyed That's just an astro-fucking-nomical number there, again, to show you in detail just how many of these goddamn things are flying around, buzzing around over there right now. But let me just detail, because we didn't have the time to get into it. Let me throw this on your screen. I just want to show you where the successful Ukrainian strikes against the Chechen forces were. So we're in Nova Sloboda here, and I'll just kind of zoom out, show you where in Ukraine. This is just a little bit northeast of Kyiv. So if I could zoom out here, show you exactly where we're looking at. Obviously, it'll start to come into play. Here's the entirety of Ukraine, Kyiv being right here, right? So again, you can see here's Nova Sloboda. And if we go to Nova Sloboda, and then we can see inside Russian territory, I believe it was, and I'm blanking on the name now, Rilsk, I believe it was. Where is Rilsk? I'm looking for Rilsk. Logov, Benici. Here's Rilsk right here. So in and around this area was the strike. Okay, so here's where the strike against the Chechen forces took place. And again, just to kind of detail the distance, I'm going to take a ruler, and I'm going to take this ruler. I'll put it right here where the first point is, and then I'm going to go to Kyiv and give you a distance of about 321.1 kilometers is how far we're looking as far as that strike, at least away from Kyiv, depending on obviously where the strikes came from. But just to kind of further detail where that was taking place, I'm sure you'll probably hear the reports of that as well. My apologies, I didn't get into the entirety of the story there. But obviously in the upcoming shows, we'll have the opportunity to do so. And then if I can, just kind of shame myself once more. Again, here's the Sea of Azov, Zaporizhia up in this region. And I was very much mistaken because it was this little estuary that I kept talking about that the Russians were trying to utilize up in this area right here. But again, this is just, I don't know what you'd call it. It doesn't look like, I don't know if this looks like more like ground than it looks like the Dnieper. Obviously, here's the river, but they're trying to utilize the banks of the Dnieper to work their way up into Zaporizhia up in here. So just to kind of, again, shame myself at being very, very wrong at, where I was talking about. I was definitely a little bit off on that one. So my apologies. I'm human. I get things wrong. I make mistakes. But as long as I can try to correct myself in the best way possible and let you know it was just a simple mistake. Again, here's the Sea of Azov that I was referencing before. But, just shaming myself, putting myself up on the wall there. I appreciate you guys. What do you say we get into thanking some people? Again, another fantastic show. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit biased in that regard. I think they're all fantastic shows, but you guys let me know what you guys think in the chat. Very much appreciated. Oh, let's see here. Yvonne, you fucking unbelievable person, you absolutely unbelievable person. Yvonne, let's get W's in the chat for Yvonne. Gifting 20 memberships. I'll get to you, though. I promise, Yvonne, but everybody send messages. Let me know. Sorry, the professor was desperate to get through with that report right there. But yes, everybody sending me text messages. Let me know that Yvonne is in the chat. Super OG Yvonne. Thank you so much for your time, your attention, and again, your generosity. Let's get into thanking some Venmo, some people that were kind enough to send in $1 or $2 on Venmo, and then we'll get into the YouTube side of things. We'll get over there to Yvonne and everybody else that was kind enough. So thank you right off the bat today to Geneva. Oh, thank you so much, Geneva. Really, though, I'm just so appreciative. I really am. Geneva says, love your show, Brian. Thank you so much. You work hard for us. Don't forget to take care of yourself. It's hard. It's very difficult because, again, everybody thinks, well, you only do a 2-hour show, right? You're only on 2 hours. Well, no, you have to be consistently up to speed on what's taking place to do these shows so you don't look like a moron when you come on here and start talking about things. So this is, hours of putting the show together, since this morning, looking at, the different news stories, watching videos, reading articles, figuring out what we can talk about, what we can't talk about, those type of things. So it's hours and hours of work just to put this 2 hours plus of a show together. And then obviously as soon as this is done, I'm right back into it. I'm right back into the news. I'm right back into the headlines. I'm right back into the articles for not, in case there's breaking news or for Monday's show. So this is like it's difficult to put into words or calculations, but it is a very involved career. And again, I know I chose this myself. I'm not looking for any empathy or sympathy or compassion or anything like that, but just some recognition. That would be enough. So thank you so much, Geneva. Thank you to Roger and Karen for everything that you guys do. Very, very appreciative of all the help and support that you guys have shown over the years as well. That goes for Allison M. Thank you so much, Allison. Let's fucking go, Allison says, with a nice little heart and a lobster. Very much appreciated. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Who else do we got? We got Allison. We got Nina. Thank you so much, Nina. Fucking unbelievable, you guys, today. Nina says, 73 Namaste in the chat on YouTube. I found some coins in the couch cushions. You, the mods, and the family in the Blunt Politics chat make my days better. Now, that is worth the price of admission for me right off the bat. If it was nothing else other than that statement coming in, I would be very, very happy, and I would be very proud of what we've done here. So thank you so much, Nina. Thank you so much to Roxanne. I very much appreciate you, Roxanne. Roxanne 1979, love your passion. We are with you in this fight, and I couldn't thank you enough. I really couldn't thank you enough for joining me in this fight, and again, being side by side, linking arms, whatever you may be, but just you guys fighting on the right side of history and for the opposition and for the resistance. It is very impactful, meaningful. And again, I am very grateful for it. So thank you, Roxanne. Thank you, Michael R. as well. Appreciate you, brother. Media insurance. That's a good one. That's a fucking good one, Mike. That is a very, very funny fucking post right there. He sent 5 in for media insurance. I love it. Thank you so much to Mike. Thank you so much to Bry Guy as well. Thank you, Bry H. Bry says, good Sunday, Bry, Slava Ukraine. No taxes, Venmo. Yay. Thank you, Bry Guy, as always. Very much appreciate you, your humor, your passion for supporting this channel. It really, really means a lot. Thank you to V Soya as well. V Soya says, fuck ICE. I second that about as much as I could possibly second. All right, enough. Zip it. Sorry, that was playing in my ear again. But yes, thank you so much to V Soya, and I second that statement wholeheartedly. Absolutely. And then, as I typically do over the last couple of days, thank you to Bry Guy again. Thank you to Yakov. Thank you to Donna. Thank you to Kathy Ann. Thank you to Nancy for everything that she's done and continues to do for this channel. Thank you to Karen. Thank you to, who am I missing? I feel like I'm missing somebody. Jeff, James, Damon, thank you so much. To Tom and Victoria, as always. Roxanne, second Roxanne, hope your mom is doing well. Hopefully that recovery process is going well as as well as it can be. And then Tom, the altar boy, well wishes, good vibes, W's in the chat, whatever we can send to Tom's way. And then obviously moms, thank you so much for everything that you've done for this channel as well. Excuse me, as I almost die here and choke. But anyway, very much appreciated for you guys. Let's get over here onto the YouTube side of things and thank everybody that's kind enough to keep this show going over there today. First up today is Frankie. What's up, Frankie, you handsome bastard? I appreciate you, brother. Happy Sunday right back to you as well, my friend. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Like I said, hopefully the sun's out where you guys are. Hopefully you're out there hitting a couple golf balls, walking the dog, reading a book, taking a fucking, I don't know, a vacation, having a picnic. Just take your mind off of things. At some point, maybe I'll have to do that too. But, who knows? We got to continue to fight. There's no way we can give up or take vacations at this point because things just continue to get worse. I mean, I could see if we were, seeing some light at the end of the tunnel, but that light is fucking far away, baby. But thank you so much, Frank. Thank you to Moms, Weekly Tithing. Love you, Brian, and to all the Bryantologists. Thank you so much, Moms. Much love to you. Very much appreciative of everything you've done for this community. Thank you to JD. They might as well get Gary Glitter to headline Stinky's birthday bust, right? Millie fucking Vanilli. Flow Rider, and again, Flow Rider had a couple good jams when I was, when I was a young gun, a young buck. But as to how relevant he is today, not at all. Not. Millie Vanilli weren't even relevant when they were relevant. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? You know what I mean? And then you got Vanilla Ice basically saying he'd suck Kim Jong-un's dick. He'd go to Vladimir Putin to suck his dick as well. So basically, like, why are you getting mad at me? I'd suck everybody's dick. Why are you getting mad at me for sucking Donald Trump's dick? Of course I'm going to simp for his 250th fucking celebration. I'd do it for Putin and Kim Jong-un too. Like, that makes it any better. But I do appreciate you, JD. Thank you so much. Thank you to Wes. What's going on, my brother? How are you? Money is imaginary. The bank says I got paid a day early, full moon, last day of meteorological spring. How much luckier can we get? Well, you are one lucky guy, Wes, I got to say. You are just one of a kind. Definitely keeps our chat on our toes. Definitely makes the Zooms a little bit more interesting, if I do say so myself. But we love your support, Wes. We love you, brother. Thank you so much for being here and again contributing to the channel. I know we it's taxing at some points of time, but I'm sure it's also taxing to watch me. So again, we're probably even in that regard. So Wes, appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so much to Nola as well. Boston Brian, we're stronger together, and I absolutely believe that, Nola. I truly, truly do believe that, which is why I am so again frustrated and confused and concerned as to what it's going to take to actually hit that switch, to flip that switch in this country, and to realize kind of the existential threat and the cliff that we're on right now. And like, once we, kind of go over that edge of no return, there is no return. You know what I mean? And to what degree, fucking normalcy and democracy and everything actually prevails out of this, prevails from this, is based upon the fight that we now put up, right? The aggression, the resistance that we now put up. So appreciate you, Nola. I think you're 100% right, and I appreciate you being here with me. Thank you so much, JD, for the profanity bonus. I think it was needed today. I think I went off on a few rants as far as that was concerned. Every day I come on, I'm like, I'm not going to swear. I'm gonna tone it down. I'm gonna let YouTube, send my channel out to the algorithm, and they're not going to be mad about the big boy words that I use. And then I just talked about how Vanilla Ice is blowing people all over the world. So that just kind of shot that to shit, right? But no, JD, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. Frank, again, for the bad words. I love it. Right on point as far as that's concerned. Free Vent, how are you? What's going on? Thank you so much for the £2. Love it. Love it. Keep your light on. I sure will. Absolutely. It's a Motel 6 around here. Is that Motel 8? I'm not sure. We'll keep the light on for you, though. Thank you, Free Vent. Very much appreciate you. Thank you to Elisa 7474 for the $10 contribution. Is that a real picture of a butterfly on your dog's nose? I will lose my shit. That it could possibly be one of the cutest things I've ever seen. Oh my God. How do you get that picture? I feel like anytime I've had a dog, he knew the second I was pulling that camera out, he could have been in the cutest position, the most fucking cozy, cuddly position ever. And as soon as that cell phone comes out, as soon as that picture comes out, he's like, nope, absolutely not. Are you getting a picture of me in this position? Not going to happen. Fucking not going to happen. Why? So you can post it on social media? Like, I feel like that's what's going through their mind. So congratulations on getting that. Please give the pup a treat for me. At least a belly rub. At least a belly rub, Lisa. That's all I'm asking. But I do appreciate the appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Colleen. A loaf of bread, a container of milk, a stick of butter for Brian. Sesame Street reference for those who grew up with PBS. If you know, you know. I do appreciate that, Colleen. Thank you so much. It almost sounds like what dictators offer their population. I'll give you a loaf of bread, some work, and maybe you can live in a shack. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that sounds great, actually, compared to what we're going through. But no, Colleen, I do appreciate you. Thank you so much. And of course, we grew up on the Sesame Street. Absolutely. God damn. Thank you, Free Vent again. London Weeps. I appreciate that. I appreciate the contribution. Unfortunately, what is London weeping for right now? I'm curious. Is that about a specific event? Did I miss something? Or is that just in general? You know what I mean? Because I think we're all weeping as far as that's concerned in general. But Free Vent, thank you so much for your contribution. Very, very much appreciated. Let's see here. DPD, let's go. What's happening? I am going to be as frank as possible. I am one angry black woman because Boston Brian is absolutely right. We are not fed up enough. What will it take? The Nazis have taken over everything. Predators are running our government. No more. Again, no notes whatsoever. I don't know. And I'm not removing myself from that by any stretch of the imagination. Hopefully I didn't word it in a way that suggested that. Like, I'm in the group with you guys. When is it going to be enough for me to get out there and with the people, with the community, with the fucking everybody else? And again, it's that aspect of being able to afford it. You know what I mean? It's good to see that a lot of these content creators make enough money on their social media platforms to fly around the country and go to all these events and situations and protest and shit. I just am not at that point. I'm just not. I don't even have health insurance. You know what I mean? So it just the list I could give you right now to prove that I'm not at that point would probably be too much, and I'd probably lose viewers. You'd probably be like, Jesus Christ, this guy's life is like that. What the fuck am I listening to him for? You know what I mean? Like but I feel like a lot of people are at that point right now. So I do appreciate the sentiment, absolutely, and I'm right there with you, but I just want to make sure that you guys recognize I'm not disassociating myself from that. And absolutely, where's the line in the sand? Where is the line in the sand, DPD? I want to know. So thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you, Ruben, for the 1 gifted membership. Oh, thank you for the 2 gifted memberships, Ruben. Very much appreciate that, my brother. Very much appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Thank you for the 2 quid. Let's see. Keep info coming. Absolutely. I sure will. Absolutely. Free vent. Thank you so much for your generous contributions today on the show. Thank you for the 2 quid there. Thank you, Bobby Slacks. Slacks, you fucking hummer. Love you, Brian. Love to all my fellow Briantologists. Right back at you, Slacks. Thank you so much for everything you do for this channel and have done for this channel for quite some time. Very much appreciate it. Ricky, let's go. 25 months. You fucking saint, you. Yo, VIP, let's kick it. Ice Ice, baby. Ice Ice. So disappointed to not see him before. I know. But isn't he gonna still? I don't even know. There's been so much fucking reporting, but I'm not sure at this point. I just know that Donald Trump canceled basically the entirety of it because he was embarrassed at how many people had given him the finger. But who knows? I still feel like, Vanilla Ice is gonna make his way onto the stage and do some fucking, I don't know, with the Ninja Turtle dance, right? He's gonna be out there with like some Ninja Turtles in front of the White House. Oh shit. Please don't. They're ruining some of my favorite movies, right? I've already had enough musicians. I've already have enough actors that I can't fucking stand anymore. I can't watch this shit because they're MAGA pricks, right? Let's not ruin fucking Ninja Turtles for me too. So, Ricky, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And I do detect the sarcasm on that one, and I do appreciate it. So, thank you. And Rachel, how are you, dear? Hey, Brian, Ed Al was at the Massachusetts Dem Convention in, is that Wormstown? What is that? Is that a snake? Snakestown? This weekend, repping for Jared Moulton. His goose is cooked. Met some awesome candidates. Will email. Thank you so much. Very much appreciate that. And we do have the last guest actually that you interviewed, that you introduced me to, coming on the 3rd, the June 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to go back and recheck that, but I do believe it's the 3rd. So Rachel, I do appreciate you. Keep sending them my way, and I'll be more than happy to have the conversation, or at least reach out to see if they're available. So thank you guys for everybody that's keeping me up to speed, updated, sending me things to do, sending me people to talk to. It all helps. I appreciate it. So thank you, Luis, as well. Member for 26 months. Benny's mind is slush, thinking that Trump can make a better deal than President Obama. So fuck everyone that crapped on that deal. Seconded. Absolutely. No notes. You guys are on point today. I appreciate that, Luis. Thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, my friend. Yvonne, go. No, Yvonne, thank you so much. Appreciate you as always. 20 gifted memberships, and again, the articles and the videos that you consistently send. I really do appreciate it. I really, really do. And not only you when they're gifted memberships, but you're even sending super chats because you're a fucking saint. Boston Brian, why does Lara Trump look like a bloke with hair extensions? Does Eric Trump know? I don't know. I'm still not convinced it's not Eric Trump. Have we ever actually seen Eric and Laura in the same place at the same time? I'm not sure. Let me get my tinfoil hat on because I'm not sure we've ever seen them in the same place at the same time. I'm speculating here that they could be the same person. That's all. That's all. But thank you for the 10 quid. Do very much appreciate that, Yvonne. And again, everybody, speak of the devil, everybody from, across the pond, everybody watching from, an international space, international community. If you're not watching from the United States, if you're watching from outside of the United States, drop your location in the chat. Again, you don't have to get too specific. Country will do just fine. But please let me know where you're watching from so everybody can recognize the audience that we have created here. So appreciate that. Free Vent, thank you for the 2 quid. Boston Brian speaks for people who are mute. I try to. That's exactly why I do this. I probably couldn't have said it better myself. People that are either have anxiety, don't see themselves as being built for in front of camera, on face kind of speaking, people that don't have the platforms, whatever it may be. But I hope to give everybody a voice that felt like they didn't have a voice before. And again, I know I'm not for everybody. I know that. I'm very well aware that I am not for everybody, and I'm probably never going to be that 7 million subscriber account that, everybody gets their news from. I don't see that in the cards, and I'm okay with that. I am very, very okay with that. Again, like I said, I'm not here for Ferraris. I'm here for change. Okay. So again, if I could just get to the point of health insurance, that would be fantastic, but I will settle for change. I really will. So appreciate you guys. Thank you, Free Event, again for the 2 quid. Thank you, Yvonne, for another 10 quid. What's going on? You guys are fantastic. Just a lot of support here from across the pond today. Boston Brian, I was in my garden today, moving a big log. I shouted out, that's hard. A man passing by my garden looked at me rather strange as I laughed and added, that's what she said. Come on, I knew I loved you. I knew we'd get along. I knew this community was going to be one that I liked. Anybody laughing at that is my people. And obviously anybody making a joke like that is my people too. So Yvonne, thank you for the 10 quid. Very much appreciate that. And somehow I knew right when you said moving to Big Log, I knew that was going. If you couldn't tell by the look that I gave you right after the Big Log comment. Oh, we love you, Yvonne. Thank you so much. Thank you to Rachel again for the $2. Most of the world does day, month, year, not just you. No, right. You're 100% right. Absolutely. We're kind of the oddity on that one. We're kind of the oddballs out as far as that's concerned in many ways too, with shit that we do here in the United States, just kind of ass backwards in a lot of, in a lot of the ways in which like the rest of the world does it. But you're 100% right, Rach. I was just trying to make a sarcastic joke about the amount of like coverage and support for Ukraine that I'm just like half turning. I'll be like a quarter Ukrainian by the end of this. And again, I say that facetiously and with all the love and respect in the world. Obviously, you guys know that. So appreciate you, Rachel. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shaki. Another 2 quid. The quid are piling up today. I'm getting a bunch of quid. I like it. Keep up the good work, Brian. Very much appreciate that. Unfortunately, StreamYard still doesn't want me to see any of the emojis. So I think a Ukraine flag, a Great Britain flag, an EU flag, an Australia flag, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't know what the IE is at the end of that. What's the IE? Anyway, I do appreciate you, Shockey. Thank you so much for your contributions as well. Very much appreciated. Let's see here. You guys are amazing today. Holy shit. We got a ton of these things. John's Rage. How are you, my friend? Seems to be, and forgive me if it's not, seems to be a new name that I see in the chat here, which is awesome. And again, like I said, if it's not, my apologies. Like I said, my brain's fried at this point, so give me a break. But John, thank you so much for your $10 contribution. Another fine show. So obviously you've been here before. Can't have another if you didn't have one in the first place. So big salute to you, John. Thank you so much for your support, and obviously thank you so much for your contribution, your generosity. And it's great to see you in the chat. It really is. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much to Frank. Let's go, brother. Thank you for the buck down there. Yvonne's back in action. Oh, my goodness. Boston Brian, I am so humbled to be here, sweetness. Oh, come on. No, it's humbling for you guys to show up to my fucking live stream. Are you kidding me? That's what I feel every single day. The overwhelming sense of appreciation, the overwhelming sense of, is this really happening type of thing? You know what I mean? Like, are people really showing up to listen to me talk? Is kind of weird. So, Yvonne, the fact that you're here with the rest of the community, it humbles me to no end. So I appreciate it. Like I said, I'm not very good at taking these kind words. You know what I mean? These I forget the word, these compliments, as it were. But I try to just at least flip them around back on you guys, because you guys are 10 times more deserving of these compliments and kind words than I am. So very much appreciated. Thank you so much. Oh, we got some euro. We went from pence to euro. I love it. What's going on, Chris? Chris Petsavas. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that for the €2. Love and respect from Greece. Let's fucking go. God damn. Didn't think we were reaching that far. Very much appreciate that, Chris. Thank you for not only letting me know, but obviously that generous €2 contribution goes a long, long way. It really, really does. Obviously, the love and respect is greatly appreciated as well. But thank you so much. Big salute to you and everybody, like I said, watching in Greece or from any other country around the world. It blows my goddamn mind. Really, really does. So, Chris, thank you so much. Yvonne, what's going on? Big day for Yvonne. We had a freak heat wave too. Hot to go outside. Too hot, excuse me. We had a freaking heat wave, too hot to go outside on Monday and Tuesday this week. I couldn't believe it. I know. I saw my friend Remboy. I don't know if you follow Remboy on Instagram. I'm sure the UK folks may or may not know who I'm talking about. He's the cute little kid. He's got no teeth. He's got the long blonde hair. Kind of gets mistaken for a girl every now and again, but he's hilarious. Anyway, he was out having a couple ice creams. You could tell it was definitely a hot day around there, but I appreciate you, Yvonne, keeping me informed. Thank you so much for your generosity, as always. Thank you to Paul. Let's go, Paul P. Appreciate you, my brother. Working together towards a better tomorrow. The hell with ICE and the golden escalator for not throwing a gear and making Trump fall off the bottom. Thank you, Boston Brian, for your hard work. Couldn't we set that up? Like, could we have not have set that up? Like, it would have taken one electrician, like one escalator professional to fucking save us from this. You know what I mean? One elevator guy. Could have been an elevator guy somewhere with a big pair of fucking, wire cable cutters or whatever the fuck. Anyway, I digress. But yes, I'm right there. I'm right there with you, Paul. Right there with you. Oh, and didn't it happen at what was it? Was it the fucking Kennedy Center thing where the escalator stopped with Melania and Trump on it? You know what I mean? Like we couldn't have utilized that to our benefit a little better. Fuck. You know what I mean? Anyway, what are you gonna do? But Paul, thank you so much for your generous contribution as well. Thank you so much, Rachel. Again, can you afford a Peter Pan ticket to Springfield? Yeah, but what do I do when I get there? You know what I mean? What the fuck do I do when I get there? There's places. There's got to be places to stay. There's got to be rental cars rented. There's got to be, you know, I mean, getting there is half the problem. But you know, it's what to do when you get there is another problem. So I appreciate the thought, but you know, what's in Springfield? That's the other question. What's the reasoning? But thank you so much, Rachel. Appreciate that. Thank you, Corey, again for the $20 contribution. Thank you, Rachel, again. Wormtown is what the locals call Worcester. Okay, I couldn't tell if it was a worm or a snake. That's my fault. That's my fault. I'm not a Worcesterite. But thank you so much, Rachel, for filling me in on that one. Yvonne, again, at Boston Brian, you do realize your international deal with it? It's fucking crazy. And again, that makes it sound a little bit ridiculous, right? Not too full of myself on the on that front, right? I'm not going to get ahead of my skis a little bit, but you know, international is factual. It's factual, but I just wouldn't say that I'm international, right? It's the viewers that are international. I'm right here in south of Boston, so that's where I am. But I appreciate it. I really do. The kind words, and I understand exactly where you're going with that. But big day today, guys. Really, really appreciate you guys for all the love, support, kindness, generosity, sticking with this show as long as you have, getting us to 20K, hopefully getting us to 25K. I think we should be pretty close to 21K already, if I'm not mistaken, or at least halfway there. Let's see here. Yep, we're about halfway there, a little more than halfway there. We're at 20,543 subscribers right now, which is ridiculous considering just the other day we were at 16. Right, we're at 16 something just the other day, so let's keep the momentum going. Hopefully, we're on the right track. As people like David Packman and Keith Edwards are complaining about no views, I just had my first month with 1 million views. So you know, maybe it's not so widespread. Maybe it's just with a few accounts, and hopefully, we're on the on the outskirts of whatever problem they're happening, and we can evade that. We could build our platform. That would be very, very, very appreciated. So thank you to the mods. I love you. I really do. I respect the hell out of this chat. Can't thank you guys enough for your passion, your aggression, your persistence, all of those things. Thank you to everybody on Venmo. Thank you to everybody on YouTube here for keeping this chat going, for keeping this show going. Thank you for everybody that's signing up underneath me for a YouTube membership. For less than a gallon of gas, way less than a gallon of gas, you could be a member here, contribute to the channel for a month. And again, if you have a little bit more, if you want to get a little bit more involved, you can go over to patreon.com/Boston Brian. I would say that obviously the chat, the YouTube members, and the Patreon are the backbone of this community, bar none, without a shadow of a doubt. We also have our Zoom meeting tomorrow night, so look out for the link going on tomorrow night for the eligible levels that are going to be involved in the Zoom meeting. I think the first one's typically everybody, so I don't think you have to really worry about what levels are going on, but I'll send out the link tomorrow. If you signed up at patreon.com/Boston Brian at any of the levels, you should definitely get access to that link. And again, it's a better place where we hang out. Not a better place, but it's a little bit easier to put a face behind the screen name. It's a little bit more personable. It's just again a Zoom chat talking about the weather, your kids, your pets, whatever. It doesn't have to be political whatsoever. It's just kind of like I said, a hangout, a different way to get to know the different people in the chat and to get better acquainted. Really, that's all it's for. So I appreciate you guys. Salute. Much love to the mods. Much love to the chat. Thank you for, again, like I said, your aggression, your passion. Stay loud, stay proud, stay aggressive. Get your fucking head on a swivel out there. Make sure you're staying safe. Get out of your sheets. Get into the streets. Make sure that you're staying safe out there, okay? Make sure you're staying safe. If you're getting out there for a protest, find your nearest protest, find your nearest rally, wherever it may be. Get out there. Get as loud and as proud as you possibly fucking can. But please be safe, okay? Please be safe. I need you guys, and we're going to need you for quite some time to come. So take care of yourselves, whether that's mentally, physically, emotionally, and I'll be right here giving you the facts, giving you the news, giving my opinions as much as I possibly can. So as long as you guys will have me, I'll be here. All right. I love you guys. I appreciate you. And I'll see you. If nothing crazy or breaking news happens, I will see you Monday. No, I won't. I will see the Patreons Monday. And then I'll see you guys for the next Blunt Politics podcast on Tuesday at 2 p.m. here on the East Coast, 11 a.m. on the West Coast. And if you live in between, it's probably sometime in between. All right. All right. I'm out of here. I love you. Thank you to Moms. Thank you to V Sawyer. Thank you, Alyosha, over there on Twitch, my man. Very much appreciate and respect everything that you've done for this channel as well. Sarasota. What's going on? I see you over there on Twitch. What's going on, Dustin, Frank, Yvonne, Dockley, yours? How are you? What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for everything that you do. Yakov, big salute. Adam, big salute. Mark P, big salute. Jen, big salute. Rocks, big salute. All of you guys, a huge salute for making this possible. Thank you to Grumpy Cat, Wes. Thank you to Dame Dog, Geno5. What's going on? How are you? Appreciate you guys. All right, hit that like button on the way out. What's going on, Jim? I see you in there. Cats and Jam. Tiff, as always, if I didn't salute you, you get a big ass salute. All right, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys, if not tomorrow, on the Zoom. I will see you Tuesday for the next Blunt Politics podcast. Please make sure you share the show out. If you think a friend, a family member, a coworker, somebody in your daily life would get some benefit, either from the chat, the group in the chat. That's again another huge component of the show, or just the stories that we cover, the articles that we cover, in the way in which we cover it. If you feel like they'd get some benefit, education, information out of that, share it out, please. All right, thank you guys, and I'll see you. Like I said, I'll see the Patreons tomorrow, and I'll see the rest of you guys on Tuesday. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Salute. Thank you, Pops. Shout out to Masha. Shout out to Susie. Shout out to the mods. Love you, big guy. Oh, thank you, Paul. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Rachel, for being here. Thank you, Bob, for being here. Thank you, Jen, Rox, Damon. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, JD. My God, as always, brother. Thank you, Doug. Brother, what a lovely studsman that is. What a fucking lovely studsman. Are you fishing too? Looks like you got a rod in your hand. Man, I'm dying to catch a fish. Dying to catch a fish. Or a bird. Or an eagle. Not the animal. It's on the golf course. You sickos. Alright, I love you. What's up, No Money G? What's up, Janelle? Yvonne! Hey, Jack.
Вітаю, Бостон Брайан. Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
Thank you, Jorge. Good to see you, my brother. Good to see you, George. One of the OGs here. We try and do our best. We certainly do, George. Every single day. We appreciate you all the more for it. Yes, thank you, Tiff. Make sure you're checking out the 69 Sniffer Brigade campaign. Let's go. Let's see if we can get there, folks. If not you, find a rich person in your life and send it to him. Why, is something wrong with Andrew? Let me know, Susie. Let me know. Hopefully everything's A-okay with Andrew. Again, it could just be that, I'm not for everybody, Susie, There's a lot of people, let's say, in Hal's chat that don't necessarily come over for this show, right? We can't rule that out. Thank you, Proven. Right there with you. Right there with the game. Have a home or a vehicle.
Вітаю, Бостон Брайан. Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
Here's a thought. Grow a sack, fill it with some balls.
We're inviting Americans from all across the country to come. The kidney has a very special place in the heart. It's an incredible thing. For miners, do we love miners? I love miners. Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. The kidney has a very special place in the heart. It's an incredible thing. God bless the United States. They're just getting acclimated. You know what that means, acclimated? Water coming here is dead. The water coming here is dead. We appreciate those camels. I haven't seen camels like that in a long time.
All right, guys, I'm out of
Вітаю,
here. I'll
Бостон
see you
Брайан.
tomorrow.
Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
All right, so here's a little pop quiz. Little pop quiz for anybody that thinks they're a big fan of this show. What is the last sound that I typically play at the end of the show? Before the end of the stream, what is the sound bite that I typically play? See if anybody gets it. First one to get it, I'll send a link to the Zoom. How about that? First one to get it, I'll send a link to the Zoom, even if you're not signed up. What is the last sound bite that I play every single show? And I only say it because it's not working right now. I can't get to it. Nope, not that one. Not that one. Jim's never around that long. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. The last sound that I typically play is the big, fat, floppy United States. Yeah, see, I thought you guys were super fans.
Вітаю,
I thought you were
Бостон
super
Брайан.
fans.
Мій позивний танцор. Я представник 72-ї бригади. Дякую тобі і твоїм підписникам за цей донат, за цю чудову машину, яка буде нас возити усіх на позиції, захищати Україну і наближати перемогу. Разом усі до перемоги. Дякую.
Дякую. And the only reason I say that is because for some reason StreamYard won't let me get to that sound right now. So the big, fat, floppy